Hey everybody, what is up? It is Media Rehab with Matt and Cam. I'm your host Cameron. I'm here as always with Matt.
Con!
And our special guest Darren, who is probably going to be promoted to a show regular because he's just been doing so goddamn good for us.
He's the only number 3 that I actually really think is really good on the show, so I think that Darren is officially the number 3 guy.
Always number 3. You're not even piss or shit.
Nope. You're that weird moment when you're really drunk and you have to shit and vomit at the same time. You're the number 3.
and you know that had a name, but okay.
Yeah, I guess it's number 3. I would assume so.
Geektox!
Yeah, it's Geektox time. Matt, what we got over there?
WrestleMania!
Oh, yeah. It's the greatest party of the year.
Showcase of the Immortals.
Yes.
WrestleMania's got a bunch of really good stuff on the card. They're doing the... I actually hate Triple H and putting himself in the title picture. Yep. Even the possibility of him being in the title picture makes me kind of angry, but it's going to be Daniel Bryan versus Triple H, and then the winner gets to go into a triple threat with Randy Orton and Batista, or Bootista, as we all like to call him.
Bootista!
Better than Batista. So, I think that Daniel Bryan being injected in that match had to happen. Not to mention also you got John Cena and Bray Wyatt. Love Bray Wyatt. We're going to see what might happen with the Shield in a combination with Kane. And it looks like the tag team from with Luke Harper and Eric Rowan are going to be with Kane, because I think that they're dubbing them like the new guys for the Shield.
They were talking about the New Age Outlaws. Is what the last thing I read. The New Age Outlaws and Kane versus
SmackDown had Eric Rowan. I know it wasn't Eric Rowan. It was Luke Harper putting the boots on members of the Shield with Kane. They had a strategic attack, I read.
Well, it's a good choice.
Yeah, I don't even watch SmackDown, so I didn't even know. But on Raw, they had the New Age Outlaws kind of as the new enforcers or whatever for the Authority.
Either option, I think, is pretty good.
How cool would it be if in the middle of that match with the Shield and Kane and Harper and Rowan, say Bray Wyatt gets the win over Cena, and that match goes on before the two of them? What if Cena comes out and helps the Shield?
I don't know, man. I think the Shield's kind of on Lonely Island, but I think that the Shield is ready to finally be promoted to full-time individual talent. I think that Seth Rollins is the man with that hot tag he had the other day, where he just slingshotted himself across the ring 5 times.
There's 5 or 6 front flips he ended up doing.
It was amazing.
It was cool.
And his move with the blackout, where he stomps on the back of the guy's head into the mat, it's really cool. I'm glad that he stopped doing the Skywalker, because I think the blackout's way cooler.
See, the Skywalker that he used to do back in NXT and Ring of Honor was amazing.
Back when it was Tyler Black.
But the Skywalker that WWE made him do, not so much.
And Roman Reigns might be a face, but I don't see the other two being a face yet. So Cena coming in to save or help out, and it wouldn't really flow with where I think they're going with.
Actually, Darren and I in our company, they just hired a guy who's an amateur wrestler, and he was telling us some of the odds and ends about those guys, because he works with he's actually trained by Moxley, who is Ambrose. And he was telling us about how the Shield, it was Tyler Black and Moxley put into the Shield to specifically help Roman Reigns come up into main event status.
Yeah, there's been a plan for Reigns all along.
Because Ambrose is going to be able to do whatever he wants. He's going to be that perennial mid-card heel kind of guy, and he's got that really kind of awkward style that's really going to, I think, stick. So he doesn't have anything to work about. Plus his mic skills and the way that he interacts in the ring.
Yeah,
and
Pillman. He's Braun Pillman.
Plus Seth Rollins, you could put him in anything. You could have him wrestle on Mop, and it would be an entertaining match.
I don't know which one would have better hair, the Mop or Rollins.
Well, if you could dye half of the Mop black, I think it would be the same guy.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But I think that with the Shield and the way that we're looking at the way that they're coming about, and with the kind of posturing that they're showing, Roman Reigns is ready, Seth Rollins is ready, Dean Ambrose is ready. So I think it's time. Give him the win at WrestleMania over Kane, and because if you're gonna have Bray Wyatt beat John Cena is able to put Bray Wyatt over, even though he doesn't need it. I think it would be cool if you're gonna put over Bray Wyatt over John Cena. I think that you have to have the Shield beat Kane and Harper and
what about the ultimate swerve at WrestleMania? Right in the middle of that match, all of a sudden, Vince or Stephanie or somebody comes down and Kane's in the ring and Roman Reigns is in the ring, and Reigns walks out turns up on Raw the next night wearing a suit and tie.
And he's the new
He's
Kane
the corporate.
Yeah.
He's the corporate man. Yeah, everybody expects Roman to be pushed as this giant, this mega face after WrestleMania, but how much of a fuck you to the dirt sheets would that be? Because they've been reporting that for months.
Well, also, I think nobody ever talks about how good of a worker Kane is. You know, he's always been
solid forever.
Yeah, he's always been Undertaker's, like, they were trying to make another Undertaker-type character when Kane first came about.
Well, evil Undertaker.
Right. Well, he's already evil, but
you know,
he's supposed to be more evil. He's like the demon. So, but they take his mask off, he's still awesome. He still has great matches. You put him in a suit, he's wrestling in a tank top and slacks right now.
I mean,
and he's having good matches.
Hell, when he was teamed up with Daniel Bryan, I mean, they made that comedy jobber gimmick team work.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like a joke or whatever.
Yeah.
But Kane is a great wrestler, and even though Daniel Bryan is hot tagging in the majority of the powerhouse wrestling, because it's always small guy and ogre when they do those kind of things. Small guy's moving really quickly, but Kane was able to go in there, and nobody's booing Kane, you know, and he was doing really good. I think that Kane has the ability to put guys over, and I think that if you give them the win, even if let's say what's his face,
Ambrose,
Roman Reigns, gets thrown out, or he walks out, right, and he's going to do his thing for the corporation. Even so, even if you split up the Shield, those guys are ready to go, and you've really replenished the wrestling roster that you have there by splitting up that fabulous Freebird 3-team kind of gimmick. And now you're getting an opportunity to where when you have the three guys with Bray Wyatt, Luke Harper, and Eric Rowan, you get to promote some other guys. You get to combine things, and we've been talking about this for a long time in the living room. And it's with all those hot shot promos that have been going on with Miz talking about how he doesn't get enough TV time, and there's Ziggler, and also
Zack Ryder.
Zack Ryder cut a pretty cool YouTube promo. But the problem is that when Zack Ryder got his U.S. title shot, he really flubbed it up. And they've been burying him ever since. So I really think that if Zack Ryder wants to replenish his career, they got to shoot him down to NXT.
I don't think that Ryder so much flubbed it up as it was a stipulation in Punk's contract.
Yeah.
Because they had that whole... We just watched the Money in the Bank pay-per-view earlier today, 2011, when Punk was walking out of the company. And I remember...
Right after Pipe Bomb.
Yeah, and I remember... Zack Ryder won the U.S. title, Daniel Bryan won the World Heavyweight Championship, and Punk had the WWE title. And it was the three of us standing in the ring, and Punk was kind of beaming like a proud papa about it, you know.
Yeah, I remember that.
He got his guys over. He got his guys championships, and then within 2 weeks, they were gone.
He was the only one left.
Yeah.
But he's been tooting that, his name was Claudio when he first came around, but the Antonio Cesaro thing, he's been plugging Antonio Cesaro for a long time, and Cesaro is finally starting to get that notice that he needed. And
it was all because of the swing.
He's got so much plus right now. If you don't take that guy and make him like the new Iron Sheik, you're making a serious mistake by not putting the strap on that guy.
Yeah.
He did an interview with Hulk Hogan, and Hogan's doing his usual hyphen mania stuff.
What you gonna do there, brother?
And he's sitting there and he's speaking in his multiple languages. It was a funny interview. I think it was on Main Event. Like a week or two ago.
Oh, the show nobody watches.
Yeah. Is it even on TV? Because I know
what was
it's
that
on.
show? Sunday Night Heat. It's the new Sunday Night Heat. Nobody watches
no,
that
it's
shit.
Velocity. Thursday Night Velocity. It came on at 7 before SmackDown.
But I don't even think Main Event's on regular TV anymore.
No, they pulled it off of Ion and they put it exclusively on the network. And they're broadcasting it live now.
Yeah.
Yeah, right before the SmackDown tapings. That way, so they can try to stress test the servers. But
was it Main Event being recorded before Raw?
They were recording Superstars matches before.
That's right. You're right.
And Main Event before SmackDown.
Okay.
Superstars is still on WGN, but Main Event is not.
Yeah.
In retrospect to what we said about the WWE Network before, about how it's not a byproduct, it's a byproduct now. But the problem is that with the WWE Network, if you mess with fast forward or rewind, it automatically glitches you out, even on pre-recorded stuff.
If you're going to watch an event that is being broadcast in the live stream, you need to start watching it as soon as it starts broadcasting. Because we made the mistake with NXT on Thursday of starting at about 20 minutes behind, and every 5 minutes I got the loading, please wait for 3.
Yeah, and it keeps happening.
Yeah.
Like it'll give you maybe 30 seconds, and it'll be loading. Please wait. Then it jumps like 2 minutes, and then it gives it to you again.
Yeah.
And it's just awful. They're still working out bugs. Hopefully, they'll have it fixed by WrestleMania. But I don't know about you, but I think we're going to be.
Yeah, I'm gonna be watching it on 247.
Yeah, I think we should just watch it on 247 just to begin with, because I don't think that the WWE Network is going to be able to hold up.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think WrestleMania is this is gonna be a huge.
Because you're buying a $60 pay-per-view for $10, and people. This is the mistake WWE is making, is that people are going to buy WWE Network for 1 month. Even so, you get 1 free week. You're going to give your credit card, cancel your subscription.
The free weeks are over now, and whenever you give your credit card, you can't cancel it before the end of your first 6 months. They're getting $60 out of you.
Yeah.
No, they're not. They're getting $10 out of you
because they have your credit card on file.
Yeah. And they're going to try.
Right, but you can still cancel. You can go to your bank and cancel anything. You can cancel anything from your bank that is being charged to your card. Okay, all you got to do is call up your credit card company and say, I don't want this anymore. They're going to be charging me superfluously. I don't want it.
Why do you think I registered for the network through PayPal?
That's brilliant on your part, because you don't have to jump through hoops. You can just be like, PayPal.
I just call PayPal and be like, hey, it's a subpar service. You know, can you stop the transactions? Yeah, sure.
And so you're now nobody's going to be buying or they're not going to be buying WrestleMania. You're stupid if you're buying WrestleMania for $60. Okay, it's like
nobody's carrying it. Dish Network is not offering pay-per-views. Neither is DirecTV or I think Comcast because of the network.
So now you can buy WrestleMania for $10 and cancel your subscription. Right after it, you're not going to be able to watch stuff after it, but you just wait your month, and so you're losing out on a whole bunch of money because WrestleMania was a pay-per-view buy, which brings up the Andre the Giant Invitational with the 30-man over-the-top battle royale.
What they don't know is that the trophy is a life-size replica of Andre the Giant. It's going to take 30 of them to carry it.
Yeah, and if you can carry it out of the stadium, you can have it.
Yeah,
it also is accurate to weight.
Who do you think is going to win? I mean, obviously the hot pick would be Big Show.
I don't even know who's in it because they keep.
I don't think they
just keep pulling guys out of it. You know, at
it's going to be everybody on the roster you're not seeing,
and then now they've been pulled from the match, and I think Big E got pulled from the match. So it's like it's the rest of the roster. I'd say possibly Christian.
No way.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be Sheamus. I think that Sheamus is the big name brand in that match right now.
Sheamus O'Shag Hennessy.
I did see him at an airport, by the way, and Homeboy was looking pretty beat up after that NXT match with.
It wasn't the NXT match. It was the street fight, the Nashville street fight, the Memphis street fight.
It was right after the taping of NXT.
Well, you should have seen that was 2 weeks ago, and he had these ridiculous welts on.
He didn't have the welts on his body after that. I mean, yeah, he's probably still beat up, but. He was looking pretty. I think that they're really working him pretty hard. Because I took a flight out to see my sister and my new nephew, who's awesome, by the way. I call him Bug when she's not looking.
Hey, Sam.
But I ended up seeing Kofi Kingston. It was kind of cool because I saw Kofi Kingston and I didn't really realize who it was because he's wearing a hoodie. And I'm looking right at him and I can't figure out why I know this guy. And he gives me like the nod up, like, "Hey, thanks for not being a dickhead," and calling me out in the airport. And then I'm like, okay, I think I just saw Kofi Kingston, and then Titus O'Neil walks right past me. I'm like, I did just see Kofi Kingston. And then about 5 minutes after that, Sheamus walks in the door, and he was just looking beat up and tired, man.
I'm just so glad that you had a good time at that airport that day. You son of a bitch.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I heard all about that.
Yeah.
I missed my flight because I'm a dork.
Yeah, and then he sent me home, and then I had to go back down the Parkway, and I waited. And I waited at Hillsborough Avenue, and I was told to go home because he's going to get on another flight. So I headed down Hillsborough Avenue, got all the way to Trinity, got told, "Hey, can you come back and pick me up?" I missed that flight, too.
It's okay, you got me back, though, because you made me sit there and wait while you made googly eyes at the girl at GameStop.
Goddamn right. Son of a bitch.
How'd you miss the second one?
I didn't miss the second one. Yeah, I was trying to get a couple different flights, and
because all the wrestlers were flying to fucking San Antonio,
Dallas. They were flying to Dallas and hopping to San Antonio.
Yeah,
exactly the same way you were going.
I was trying to, but I ended up flying to Chicago, which about 30 seconds in Chicago is enough for me to know that I don't ever want to live there. I mean, Chicago's a cool town, and they got cool things going for them, and I've recently renounced my hate for Chicago.
They have murder going for them.
And cold. It was balls-ass cold. And I have a couple friends that live up in Chicago, and they're like, oh, it was only 32. It was nice. I'm like, only 32 is not nice, man.
I just left 75 fucking degrees, and you're saying only 32?
If I spit on the ground and it turns to ice within seconds, it's not nice.
I lived there for about 7 months, and I didn't get to the harsh winter part, but I got there to, I left around like September, so I mean that whole thing about it being windy, that shit was insane.
Did you know that the murder rate actually goes down in Chicago in the middle of the winter?
Yeah, because nobody wants to fire a gun because it's cold.
No. When the bad guys shoot their guns at people, all you do is you whip your dick out and you make yourself a piss shield because it's so damn cold.
I just don't think that if you're an intelligent human being, you live in a place with subarctic temperatures and think that it's a great place to live. I enjoy coming home and seeing palm trees and white sand and blue waters, and I think it's a great place to live. And I've lived a lot of other places. In a lot of really respected towns like St. Louis. I've lived in Atlanta. I've lived in the nice part of New Jersey, air quotes. And it still smelled like sewage and reeked of factory. But I think that if you're going to live in a place, you got to live in a place that really makes you happy. If brutal cold winters and an overall shitty disposition is your thing, move to Chicago or New York,
But you know what? We're getting a little bit off track here, but I'm gonna bring this back, okay? Now let's start talking about the happiest place on earth, Orlando, Florida, the home of Full Sail University, where NXT is taped.
NXT has been really good. I really like some of the things they've been doing. I'm not going to say his name because I know that he's the guy you really want to talk about him, but I saw something the other day. We talked about it once before when we were talking about their new entrance music, but the Ascension. What's their names? I know
Connor O'Brien and Rick Victor, but they're just Connor and Victor.
Connor and Victor. But they have this new thing with that Rebellion theme song where they're kind of crouched down and the lights go off and the music hits, and they're in a crouch and they just kind of stand up into the lights, and they look like an awesome tag team. And since they changed that stupid stand there and scream gimmick, it was so bad. The Dominus. They really had this kind of crappy gimmick before, and now I can look at those guys. They've got matching uniforms. They've got their shit together. Their tag team moves look pretty crisp. I really look at them and I see like a Demolition or a Legion of Doom or like a Powers of Pain, and I really think that it's time to promote those guys to the main roster. Have them fight the Usos for the strap and really put them out there fast, because NXT's putting out some good talent. What about your boy with that awesome entrance he's got now?
Oh, the former Leo Kruger.
Everything you know is about to change.
See, Matt loved Leo Kruger because of that promo and the fact that he was a South African mercenary and all that.
Psychopath, yeah.
I'm loving him because now he is the rose-flinging leader of the Rosebud Army, Adam Rose. Very Russell Brand-ish.
He's like a party
infant
dude.
sorrow rock star over here, and it's one of the best things ever. His entrance, there's a bunch of the other talent, people you haven't seen on TV yet, all partying and celebrating with the entrance music.
In outlandish outfits.
And he gets up on the ring, and then he falls back, and they crowd surf him around the ring.
Yeah, it's just around one corner, but it's so cool.
Yeah, it's something unique and it's different. And the theme song, you can get into it like they got into it with Fandangoing.
Emma.
Yeah, Emma. Yeah.
Support city gimmicks.
It's very cool that this kind of just happened organically. And the first night, the debut night for it, Twitter just blew up.
The crowd, as soon as he started crowd surfing, this is awesome.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was one of the best reactions to a new gimmick that I've seen in a long time.
He shaved off the goatee. He kept the soul patch. Yep. He recycled some of the stuff he used before with everything you know is about to change. And he's like this club-goer party guy. And the only thing I don't like about Adam Rose...
He's just like Russell Brand in Get Him to the Greek and Forgetting Sarah Marshall. He's very out there like, oh my God.
You want to root for him because he's just a ridiculous... He's like Tyler Breeze with that ridiculous gimmick. Not in the face! But the only thing I don't like about Adam Rose is that he kept that the bowler swing, he does this thing where in other parts of the world, cricket is a big deal. Yeah. And we recently learned about cricket, so we actually like cricket a little bit now because we know what's going on. But
I still haven't been able to figure out how you score and everything.
It's very easy. I'll tell you later. I'll pull up a game and I'll just
pull it up in Jeets. Yeah. The problem is that he does the bowler's pitch, which is when you fling. I don't know how much. I think it's like 8 pounds or something like that. It's like a big ball.
It's like 8 or 9 pounds. Yeah.
And you sling it as like a pitcher does at a batter. Well, he does a clothesline. It's like a knife hand clothesline as his finish, and it's so lame.
Yeah, he needs to have something like a leg kick, like some kind of like a super kick or a leg drop, or you know what? Do off the top rope, land on your back like you're crowd surfing, like he does in the entrance, like kind of like a razor's edge, but you're doing it to yourself.
You could do that if you're doing off the top rope. You could do that, but you could do it like the Swanton Bomb, but you do it in like a moonsault.
But he's too old to do that.
You could also do. I think the perfect move for him would be like a modified DDT, like Cactus Jack did a double arm DDT. Give him something like that, but do it like Ambrose does his DDTs. Do it with that real jerk your neck into it so your hair kind of goes so it looks more intense than it actually is. Yep. I think he needs a high impact finisher that's not a stupid fucking clothesline.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's only a couple dudes I think that can really rock a clothesline. When JBL was doing the clothesline from hell, it looked so much worse because he was so much bigger than other guys, and he would just jerk his whole body into it.
I was mesmerized by his man boobs while he
did that. His flab flowing in the wind.
Their only rival.
I'm a wrestling blob.
Only rivaled by me, Chris Jericho.
Oh yeah, Jericho's clothesline was pretty good.
Well, I was talking about the man booms, and then they got him.
Oh no!
You don't badmouth Chris Jericho, you son of a bitch.
You go to hell with badmouthing.
He's got like this weird sunken-in chest looking.
He's not Kofi Kingston. He's been doing bench presses.
Kofi's got
Kofi's is even worse because when was that dude ever fat?
I think he was punched in the chest as a toddler.
He does have that weird. I don't know if anybody knows who I'm talking about.
Shit in Ghana,
the UFC and Pride used to have this guy named Trey Tellingman, where he was missing one pectoral muscle. When he was a kid, he got in a car wreck and they had to remove part of his pectoral, so he had this sunken-in portion of his chest. He reminds me of Trey Tellingman, only middle chest portion sunken in, they just don't exist.
He's got side pecs.
Isolate, man. Do some dumbbells on the decline. Get that shit toned up.
And we'll never hear the story about how that happened, just like, Guy Boucher, the former Lightning coach, how he's got that wicked scar on his face. We'll never hear that story.
Canadian knife fight.
Hey, I'm sorry for cutting you, eh?
It's okay, mate. I got this nice gnarly scar now. Chicks dig scars.
But glory lasts forever.
There's a lot of dudes like Aiden English with his Spotlight.
Spotlight, please!
It's actually really good. They've got a lot of, Sami Zayn is really good down there. Tyler Breeze is doing really good. They've got a lot of really good talent in NXT, but the live taping that they did for NXT, when they for the last couple have been kind of undershot, because remember when we used to watch NXT on Hulu, you really had to try to make it a good show. It just kind of feels like, I hope it changes, but after this last episode, it kind of feels like Raw Junior.
Well, now they're doing themed weeks. They promoted this week on NXT that next week's episode is NXT Vengeance. It's a rematch between Bo Dallas and Adrian Neville for the title.
Bo.
And there's a lot of return matches from NXT Arrival and some new stuff. It's only 4 matches, but they're at least going to do this monthly special thing, and I think they should do a monthly special where it's 2 hours long instead of an hour.
It's almost like a pay-per-view, but not.
Yeah, you know how TNA's doing their pay-per-views on regular TV now? They're kind of doing it like that. Every fourth show is a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And actually, the company that has TNA now on their channel is looking to take WWE.
See, I was hearing WGN. Yeah, they're going to pump a bunch of money into it because it was this long, drawn-out explanation, but right now WGN makes something like 10 cents per customer on most major cable providers. And that if they were to acquire the WWE into the fold, they could charge 30 cents per provider, which would equate to another $250 million a year.
Yeah. But wouldn't that cause a problem with where we have problems with AMC, where channels are demanding more money from networks, and they're just go fuck yourself?
Well, but here's the thing: when it comes to that, they don't jack up our prices. It just cuts into the cable company profits. Now, if it's something like when ESPN first started out, they were like 3 cents per viewer on cable networks, and now they're like $10 per viewer. And it was a big jump in the 90s. They went from something like $3 to $7 or $8. Yeah, that got passed along to the customer.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if it's something where it's going up to 10 cents and it's costing the cable companies $250 million a year between all of them, it's not going to be that much of a difference to where like they're going to charge us an extra $10 a month on our bill.
I don't think that, but with the availability for like we could watch Raw if we wanted to on 24/7. We could watch or 247. Sorry, we could do a bunch of different options to watch it. I just don't think that. I think that the network might try to. I don't know. Do you think they might try to pull Raw off of cable?
No, it would be next to impossible. Because Raw makes so much money.
Yeah, they can command too much money for that. I mean, even ESPN was thinking about putting them on.
ESPN, Fox Sports 1, NBC Sports Network, CBS Sports Network was considering it, but we don't even have CBS Sports Network in HD.
I think that Fox has been flubbing a lot of things with their new Fox One network, but that's for Jeets.
I would like to see Fox acquire the WWE, and you know what? You can play SmackDown on FXX. You can put Raw on Fox Sports 1. You could run NXT on television on Fox Sports 2.
I mean, they got plenty of outlets.
As long as you make Fox Sports 2 in HD, you sons of bitches.
That's not them. That's Verizon.
Fuck Verizon.
No, we're sorry, Verizon. We love you so much. You're the providers of our internet and our freedom.
So tell me, how much do you care?
How much does it bum you out?
Nipple rub, nipple rub.
So we've been talking about wrestling, but there's another show on there that commands our attention. Everybody watches it, and if you don't watch it, you live under a rock.
If you don't watch it, go look at the flowers.
I would like to say, I fucking told you so. Discuss The Walking Dead, and my prediction being correct.
Very of mice and men-ish. Yeah, that's something that hasn't been thrown around too much. Are we gonna go somewhere where there's rabbits? Yes, we're gonna go somewhere where just focus on the rabbits, okay? Boom.
But Lizzie kills her sister, and she doesn't understand the value. She's just. I think that it kind of speaks to the kind of nature of living in a world where life and death can be changed at the flip of a coin. I mean, we live in that world today, but it's much more so in the realm of Walking Dead. And with Lizzie being, I called that to explain. I called that in the comic book. Lizzie and her sister are actually two brothers. They're two boys in the comic book, and there's a serial killer that decapitates some children, and inexorably kind of screws up one of the boys and ends up killing his brother. And then I kind of paralleled that to being the two young girls in the series, and what ended up happening is Lizzie, in fact, did kill her sister because she wanted her to come back as a zombie to show everyone that the zombies were different.
Lizzie was feeding the rats to the walkers at the prison. There was a lot of loose ends tied up in this episode to lead into the next two. Carol admitting to Tyrese that she killed the people at the prison.
No.
And handed her gun off to Tyrese,
why even take that risk?
Because you know what, Carol had just murdered
atoning for your sins.
Yeah, this was a way, and yeah, I applaud Tyrese for doing it.
It was so good how they did it, though, because Tyrese is standing there and they have the discussion between them. What do we do with Lizzie? We can't keep her around because the baby's at risk. We can't keep her around because we're at risk.
Yeah.
Okay? If we're sleeping and she wakes up and decides to kill us all in our sleep, we'll never know.
Yep.
Nobody will be able to stop her, so what do we do with Lizzie? So Carol volunteers herself. She says, I'll go off in the woods and I'll take Lizzie with me and I'll take the risk. Because she's feeling guilty about what she did, because Tyrese has been going through this whole episode about telling her how he's so glad that he's with somebody that he can trust.
I miss Karen and David.
and it comes up so many, you can see in her face so many times that she wants to tell him that it was her, and then him watching her put Lizzie down and realizing that what she did was for the benefit of all of them, and he's so angry about learning it, and then at the end taking that gun and taking his hand off the gun and looking at her says, I'll never forget, but I forgive you. And then he asks her the questions. Did she know what was going on? No. Did she suffer? Not at all. And I did it because I knew that if they lived, everyone was at risk. So I did the thing that nobody else could do, and I did it myself. and then them walking off with the baby at the end and leaving the walker alone after they bury Lizzie and her sister. I think that the way that they did that on the show kind of reinvigorated me to the show, because up to this point, the subject matter has been pretty poor.
Yeah. This episode showed that there was no boundary that they're not gonna cross.
And on Talking Dead afterwards, they brought up a good point that, like, when they were standing by that tree, if she would have brought it up then, he probably would have just killed Carol.
Oh, yeah.
But after seeing what he did, for the betterment of all of them, maybe probably helped him understand about what she did back in prison. It's
absolutely psychological in that way.
But in this world, you need people to count on it, and you need them to survive. And frankly, if I'm in the zombie apocalypse, I want Carol.
Absolutely.
I think Carol's the dead nuts there. I think that Carol's that person who, she was beaten by her husband. She watched her daughter die when she came out as a walker. Her soul has been crushed so many times. These two little girls that she fostered in as her own, against her own wishes. She had to put one of them down and watch one of them be murdered, even though she took all these extra risks to try to teach that girl she has to be different. And I think that with Tyrese looking at her and saying, "I forgive you," kind of forgiving the audience for knowing what they knew and feeling the way they felt towards Tyrese and Carol during the whole thing. I like that unity, but with the new promos coming out, who makes it to Terminus? I think we're going to get another gut shot.
Yeah,
somebody's going to die this week.
Somebody big time.
And I don't know if you want to consider it big time, but like I was telling you, the one of the daughters, not Maggie, the other one, Beth. That's with Daryl. There was that whole episode about them.
Yeah.
And, she was having, like, a lot of monologues and a lot of, Beth time. And then she brought up, she'd be okay to die and everything and just move on. And she showed up, actually, in the preview for the following, for next week.
As one of the followers.
And she's going to be one of the followers. Whether that has anything to do with
be a little one-off thing.
Maybe not, but it just seemed kind of weird that they're leaning that way.
I did tell Cameron this theory, and he had something that was pretty good as a retort to your philosophy. You've been doing some research in the comics, and you've I think you kind of figured out what that cross is in that house. I think you have an answer. You care to share that revelation with us?
Father Gabriel Stokes. Gabriel Stokes ran a funeral home, and when the outbreak happened, he lost a lot of parishioners, and he comforted them in their time of need, and now has become a rapey cannibal.
He's not the rapey cannibal. When you told me that, I read up on Father Gabriel. Then what happened to Father Gabriel is that when the apocalypse happened and all these parishioners were trying to get back to hide in the church and be safe, he wouldn't open the door. And he let all these people die, and that's the reason for why these corpses, the zombie corpses, were so well taken care of with the makeup and everything, and giving them proper burials and funerals. But there's also another character attached to Father Gabriel that you had brought up that is actually, I think they might change his race.
They're changing his race, and he's a composite of multiple characters from the show. His name escapes me, but he's a young character. He's being played by a very handsome guy, which would explain why Beth would get in the car. Maybe
but she left her stuff there, so it kind of looked like she was forced.
They could have made it seem like she was in immediate danger too.
I think also maybe because you saw the all the horde or whatever come to the door and the dog, so maybe he led them there. And
maybe the dog is his.
And then maybe he didn't force her in there, but they started coming out of nowhere, and he's like, "Hurry up, get in here!" And she just dropped it and got in. So I guess it could go either way.
Well, Daryl's with the sketchy characters. I think that Daryl might be the one to go.
No.
Everybody wants to disagree with me, but
no, that's a season ender right there. That's something. That's the last episode.
We still got 4 episodes, right?
No, we got two.
Two. Okay, we got 2 episodes. So you could wait one more episode to kill Daryl, but he could be the guy.
The last 2 episodes. The first one, which is this Sunday, the title is U.S. U.S. And then the season finale is A. Which, as soon as I saw that, and I'm getting tingles right now, Alexandria.
Yeah.
And then, you do a little bit more digging, and you see interviews with Kirkman. He says Terminus might not be a good place. which gets me to believe that they're going to introduce the Hunters. One group is going to make it to Terminus this week. And then the rest of them are going to make it there next week. And they're going
I was
to
thinking the guys that are with Daryl were the Hunters, but Matt was kind of saying maybe not so much.
Do you think that creepy dude with from that episode of New Girl that we watched, I don't remember his name.
Yeah, I don't remember.
That creepy kind of
super.
Every guy in that. Do you think he might be Negan?
That's what I was thinking because there was a picture that came out from Image Expo that is entirely true. It is entirely real. And I'm showing it to Matt right now.
Yeah.
It's a biker vest with a logo, and it just says Saviors underneath.
And the Saviors are Negan's group.
The Saviors are Negan's group.
And he likes a bowman, because a bowman is not like a rifle guy. A rifle guy can shoot his rifle and attract zombies, but a bowman is quiet and silent and knows how to kill.
And what, that bow shoots at what, 800 feet per second?
But they showed
clean through him.
They showed in the prequel they were beating on Daryl for not wanting to do some shady shit, and I think that guy might be Negan. I think that he might be the guy.
In the previews, it looks it might have been in The Talking Dead, but Daryl gets into a confrontation with one of those other guys, and it looks like
they were beating his ass.
No, it's him and another guy alone in the woods.
Yeah.
And it looks like Daryl's going to turn around and take him out.
You looking for that little girl that you were with?
Yeah.
Yeah, tell me, did you get that? Yeah, the dude was just being absolutely creepy about, being a child molester to Daryl, and Daryl just starts pummeling the shit out of him, and that's where the preview ended.
Well, Daryl's always been on the cusp, too, because he's been riding that SS bike for a long time, and he was with Merle, and they finally revealed where he came from, how he was just Merle's lackey his whole life, and then finally they burned down that place where they were living for that short time because they were trying to eradicate the memory of what he used to be. I think that we might see Daryl kind of go off the reservation, and I really, in order for me to stay extremely invested, I think that they need to kill off a major character, and I know I'm going to catch a lot of flack for saying this, and I like Norman Reedus. I think he's done excellent in this role, but I think it's time for somebody else to be the favorite, and I think it's time for Daryl to go.
And you know what? It wouldn't surprise me if you have this episode that's primarily centered around Daryl with these bikers who you haven't seen what is on their backs.
No.
If you go back and watch it, they've always cut away as they're turning their back. And I can picture Daryl dying in the season finale, and as he's dying, Daryl says to him, or Daryl's got this look on his face, and as the guy's bludgeoning him to death with whatever, I'm just trying to be your savior, boy. And then that's it. You just leave it on that, and you don't know if Daryl's dead. They don't show the dead corpse or anything like that. And then you hear millions of fanboys erupt because they've already introduced the saviors.
Here's the thing, is that even though Walking Dead has been pretty good lately, there's something that has taken over our 9 o'clock spot. And we record Walking Dead, and we watch it after this particular show. And Cosmos with Neil deGrasse Tyson has been the shit. It's going to piss off a lot of the Christian right wing with where they believe in certain things like evolution is not real. The world was created in 7 days, that kind of thing, which is okay. Everybody's entitled to believe what they want to believe.
But here's the really good thing about this show: they're not hammering you over the head with it.
No.
They're not hammering you over your religion is wrong. They've made two mentions. They've made two mentions in this entire show about evolution. The first one was in the first episode, and it was about 5 seconds long. And then there was a spot where Neil Tyson described something that happened with evolution, and he's like, "Yeah, it's science." And he's got
the same
this
thing as
pissed off
gravity.
look on his face. Yeah, I'm tired of answering this question. It's fucking science.
There were two things in that show that really made me want to come back and watch it. And I think Neil deGrasse Tyson has been so awesome, Carl Sagan-esque with the way he's been doing that show. And his voice is so comforting. While you're watching this, you kind of feel like he's taking you along this journey of science. And I think it's been a long time since we had a science-dedicated show where a guy who is extremely intelligent and really a good speaker, he's got the soothing voice, and he kind of just takes you along the ship of imagination. And he takes it. There's two things in that show that have really blown my pants off. And the first one was our cosmic address. And while he's explaining to you what the cosmic address is, you just feel yourself becoming smaller and smaller and smaller in this chair.
It's like, see, we're here. We're part of this, and this is part of this.
It's like 7 lines long, and things that you thought, like the Milky Way galaxy, you thought we were the Milky Way galaxy, our solar system, but we're not. We're and then he just keeps expanding and keeps expanding and keeps expanding. And I just thought that was so, and the graphics on it are so awesome.
It just makes you feel like you don't matter when you put it in that kind of perspective. You're just like, we're a speck of dust.
The other thing that really amazed me was he explained the Darwinian theory. Okay, he explains the theory of evolution, and it's not a theory; it's a fact. And he explains how it works. He did it with bears, where the brown bears travel up into the Arctic, and then all of a sudden a mutation occurs where one bear has white fur instead of brown, and then that bear is more successful, so it propagates more often.
One protein link in a strand of DNA changed a brown bear to a polar bear,
and they became an entirely different species.
Yep.
And the way that he explained how it worked was just so phenomenal that I can't wait for the next episode. I'm on pins and needles waiting for the next thing, the next journey Neil deGrasse Tyson is going to take me on.
And it bothers me because we need this in this country. We need science. We're something like 59th in the world in science education. And to fund NASA for a whole year, it's 1/2 of 1 penny on the tax dollar. A half a cent. Imagine if we gave
another half a cent. Yeah.
Imagine if we gave a penny on the dollar for the budget to NASA. Imagine what we could do.
We could be on Mars in 10 years.
Yeah, it just frustrates me to no end. That
there's a private company that's trying to get us.
That's a private
SpaceX.
company, though.
Yeah,
with Elon Musk and SpaceX.
And they're gonna have 2 people go, and then more people as they go, and they're gonna have self-contained things. And each ship is going to connect to the previous one, so they're going to make a whole bunch of modules,
like a Mars colony.
What's the current space station now? Where they're doing that? They just add new
the International Space Station.
Yeah, where they keep adding modules to it, and I think that space exploration and the desire to see what's out there needs to come back in this country. And originally, when we were in this position, Carl Sagan came out with the original Cosmos and really kind of took everybody on this ride. Neil deGrasse Tyson is actually a student of Carl Sagan, and he mentions him quite frequently. And I think that if we were to dedicate ourselves to more exploration in our entire existence as a species of humans, okay, we have our desire, our one motivation is to find something new. Go and explore. You can go back to Eric the Red. You can go back to Magellan. You can go back to all these people.
Columbus wanted to sail off the end of the earth.
You can look at all these different things, and you can say that our desire to find things out, to find new things, has kind of been diminished. We stopped dreaming, is one of the things he said.
It's a brilliant monologue. You can find it on YouTube. Neil deGrasse Tyson, We Stopped Dreaming, and it's about 10 minutes long. And he just goes through all the stuff that happened in 40 years. In 40 years, we went from knowing nothing about the moon to landing on it, to coming back, to building something out in space that houses people.
It's a terrifying thought to think that we stopped dreaming, and that as an American peoples, we've started to take, and here's my caveat to my discussion, is that religion has its place. If you are entitled to believe whatever you want to believe, and you do not deserve to be persecuted for that belief, no matter what anybody says. Okay, so if you believe that that God is a rock or a flying spaghetti monster, that's your decision. Okay, but it has no place in the science classroom of our youth. And if we keep going down this road of trying to exercise or just be the exorcist of taking all these beautiful pieces of information from our children, I think that we're going to come into a spot where the United States will not be the power that we are in 20 years.
The one thing that I like that he brought up too was we've always kind of had this Star Trekian kind of idea of all these other alien life are going to be somehow human related. And it always used to bother me that we would always think like that. And he even brought it up maybe on, Io? Titan. He's like, it's a methane ocean. How do we know that they didn't evolve to, live as methane like we do with water on Earth? and there's life forms that created from that. So
you spoke about something about rogue planets.
Yeah.
Okay, they're covered in ice. Okay, but the ice only goes so thick. They still have a molten core. So somewhere between the layer of ice and the molten core, there's very possible intelligent sea life.
Yeah.
In these planets that don't even revolve a sun.
And I would
dolphins with horns and shit. That'd be cool.
No, we have those. They're called narwhals.
No, I don't believe that.
I've seen it.
So, I don't ever want to see this show go away. And speaking of which, we got some shows that we don't really want to see canceled. The first of which is Community. I think Community has been an excellent show. Cameron actually got me watching it when I first moved here,
Damn
and
right.
he insisted that I watch it. And I was skeptical at first. I like the soup, so I like the actors inside of it. And I watched the show, and I've just been captivated. And the problem is that we live in the TiVo era, so we don't get a lot of the what's the agency that goes through and monitors our
Nielsen.
The Nielsen ratings. I don't think the Nielsen ratings are respective of the following of that show. It's really got a cult following, but Community's on the chopping block again.
It's been since season 1. But, it's time to start thinking like Abed. 6 seasons in a movie. That's all we want. 6 seasons in a movie.
Now, do they have a way to record like how many people DVR stuff and everything? Like, are they able
Only if you have a Nielsen box attached.
So, thousands, millions of people that are DVRing stuff like crazy.
Yeah, no, you don't see
They
that.
have no record of it.
And there's no way to track, instant streaming like Hulu, because Community is available the day after on Hulu. There's no way to track that unless you get the numbers that are proprietary to Hulu.
So the only way they know that there's like a massive following is when there's possible talk about getting them, booted off the air, and then you start having.
Yeah.
I think next day availability is kind of killing the cable market as well, because we watch Community within 2 or 3 days of it coming out, but we never watch it live.
But here's the thing, is that these networks need to not be so damn trigger happy about canceling a show.
I mean,
in some instances,
NBC almost canceled Law & Order after the first season?
Yeah.
20 years ago.
70
Same thing with
spin-offs.
Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Seinfeld was almost canceled a bunch of times.
Chuck.
And it didn't take off until 4 years.
Chuck was one of my favorite shows, and it survived cancellation 3 times.
Yep.
To the point where they had to put blatant Subway marketing in there in order to finance the show. They're just being way too damn trigger happy with these shows and pulling them off the air. They don't give anything a chance.
If it's not an instant success, it's going to be a failure.
Yeah.
D, I hate to inform you. Darren? I hate to inform you, but The Following is on the chopping block as well.
Yeah, I've been kind of wrapped up in that whole world, and have you watched the recent one?
I watched the first season because you insisted that I watch it because it was such a good show, and you were telling me about how I really need to watch this, and I was kind of skeptical because I'm not really a Kevin Bacon guy, and I watched the first episode, and I was just hooked. I ended up watching it on a marathon all the way through. Because I think that the show is really fantastic, and I think that the problem is that it grinds on you because every show is like just end of the world-esque scenarios, like Attack on Titan, where everything is like hinging on the thread. But it's on the chopping block, and I'm kind of sad to see it go because I can't wait to watch the second season on Netflix. I just don't want to catch it live because I got so many other things going on.
So do you want me not to spoil stuff?
No, go ahead.
Okay. Well, there's been a couple episodes in. And Joe is not dead, and I kind of had a feeling that he wasn't.
Yeah, I think that you can't have the show without Joe.
Yeah, he's the main, what is it, antagonist?
Yeah, antagonist.
Of the show. And I just knew there was going to be a way that they figured out, all right, he wasn't in the building when it blew up. And he's been hiding in, like, Kentucky somewhere, and he's got a big long beard, and he's just, like, out of the eye and everything. And this other little faction kind of forms to kind of draw him out, because they still think he's alive. And so they went down that scenario a little bit, and he's finally just revealed himself to the world that he's alive again because he got involved with like this little cult,
right?
And he did what he does, takes over the cult, got the guy to kill his own wife, and then he wound up killing the guy, and then he had the followers of that cult basically become his followers, and they're all chanting him.
Sounds like the governor at the first half of the season.
A little bit. Now, here was the twist that I didn't even see coming. At the end of last season, there's Joe's wife, who also was sleeping with Kevin Bacon's character while they were doing that whole thing. That crazy chick came in and killed her, right?
Right.
She ain't dead. They revealed on the last one that she's been in secret, like double secret, triple secret,
secret probation,
and witness protection, because the one dude that's always with Ryan, the younger guy.
Yeah, the guy who I thought was going to be a traitor, and he wasn't.
Because he kind of seemed like he was going that way. He went through all this rigmarole to kind of get to where, I can't remember the guy's name, but he's a black dude that we've seen earlier as one of the FBI members. And he opens the door, and boom, there she is. And you're like, holy shit, she's not fucking dead. And that's kind of where it is now. So now Ryan's not with the FBI, but he's on his own rogue mission. And they got, what's that guy's name that played The Rock from that TV show where he was a
Dwayne Johnson.
Not that Rock.
That's the only Rock for me. If you smell what The Rock is cooking.
Anyway, that guy's running his own kind of like offshoot, and he's hired Ryan to kind of like try to find where Joe Carroll is and everything like that. And he's got the blonde dude that we were just talking about,
right,
that you thought was possibly a traitor. They're all working together now to try to figure out where Joe's next move is. And he releases a tape that goes to the media, says, "Hi, I'm not dead. Here I am, and it's only going to get worse."
That's pretty cool. The other show that I saw that's going to get that's on the chopping block is a show that Cameron got me watching into, and we're kind of invested in now because it's a cute show. It's kind of one of those shows that makes you feel good. It's one of those things where you have these things going on where it's got this. It's called About a Boy, and it's got this older guy. Do you know who the actor's name is?
No. But About a Boy, it's based off the book and the movie with John Cusack.
Right.
And it's a bachelor in his 30s, lives next door, lives in a house, and this single.
Wasn't it the British dude About a Boy?
It was John Cusack.
Yeah, no, who's that?
No, it wasn't Hugh Grant.
Oh,
no.
It was the other one who got blowjobs from a hooker.
That could be anyone in Hollywood.
But and he lives next door. He lives in a house, and a single mother and her kid move in next door, and hijinks ensue because he takes a liking to the boy.
Because the kid's a vegan and he gives him ribs, and ribs is the Ambrose of the gods.
Yeah, he's looking for a father figure, and begrudgingly takes him under his wing. So like the first episode, it set up everything with the guy's a womanizer and the mom's a stickler. She does yoga in the backyard, and she gets mad at him for grilling because she's a vegetarian and he's a vegetarian, and they've moved around forever. And then everything falls apart in the first episode. And then the boy's at a talent show, and he's going to embarrass himself because nobody likes him already.
Because he's going to sing One Direction.
Yeah, he's going to do it a cappella, What Makes You Beautiful. And then...
You don't know you're beautiful.
But then, the talent show comes along, and...
He gets the guy to put on. He gets his best friend to put on the laser show, and
he goes out there and he plays with the beatbox
and sings with him,
and it's a really cute show. And then the second episode was cute. If
he doesn't bang that blonde in the next 2 episodes, I'm out.
if you like the show Parenthood on NBC, you would like About a Boy. If you like How I Met Your Mother, you would like About a Boy. Because it's one of those cute shows. It's like, oh, well, what kind of hijinks are they going to get into this week, and what kind of life lesson is the old man going to learn from the young kid? And, they teach each other.
I got some things for you guys. I've been watching TV relentlessly lately, and we've kind of preluded to some shows that you should probably stick your ear out for in the future. I got 2 shows that are coming out. I know we talked about The Strain before, and I'm really excited about that because I've read the books. But there's another show that I believe it's NBC is coming out with. It's called The Last Ship. TNT is coming out with it. Okay. The Last Ship is about this virus comes out, and it knocks out about 80% of the human population. And this lone destroyer in the middle of the ocean is trying to come up with a cure / keep themselves from getting infected. And it's got kind of this all-star cast. And it's got our boy, Adam Baldwin, Thomas Jane /
Jane Cobb. Jane Cobb / John Casey.
It's got this really awesome kind of concept to it, and it looks pretty good coming out. I think it's got. Here's the thing: is the preview that I watched had like 50 explosions in it, and jokingly I said, "Oh, this has got to be produced by Michael Bay."
From executive producer Michael Bay,
and it's from Michael Bay. So, so with the 50 explosions, so there's going to be lots of explosions, lots of action, things like that. But the last ship is coming out, and it looks to be pretty good.
It does look decent. It's a very. I will definitely give it a watch, but knowing TNT and knowing the quality of shows that TNT does,
2 good episodes.
I'm not expecting much, because I loved Falling Skies for about 4 episodes.
It'll have 2 great episodes, and then it'll turn into a bag of crap.
Either that
I
or they'll
tapped out
cancel
about
it.
2 or 3 on that one.
But there's another show coming out that I'm really excited about. And I actually liked the movie Constantine. And you said it's a great popcorn flick. I thought it was a decent flick. I thought it was one of those Keanu Reeves roles. It wasn't true to the comic, but I thought it was a good popcorn movie.
One of those ones you get a big old bucket of popcorn, you sit there, you watch it, and you forget about the fact that you lost your job or that your car is broken down. You forget about all that stuff. It's like the Transformers movies. Do not look for a plot.
No.
But, just enjoy it.
Just what it is.
Yeah.
Well, Hellblazer is coming, and it follows the story of John Constantine, who's a British, actually, and they hired a British actor to play him. And if you don't know anything about John Constantine and Hellblazer, Hellblazer first appeared in Swamp Thing, and Hellblazer's a magician who kind of figures out his way through the occult. He's like a private-eyed magician who kind of traverses that world between heaven and hell, and he's got this thing where his soul is going to hell because he's a suicide, but he's managed to finagle his way through enough demon deals and enough shiesty gimmicks to kind of keep himself existing. He's a chronic smoker. There was a series, and they kind of allude to it in Constantine, where he has lung cancer, and God decides to save him because of the sacrifice. But in the comic book, what ends up happening is a demon is supposed to have his soul, and he's dying from lung cancer. So he makes a deal. It's the number 1 demon in hell. And
Mephistopheles?
No, I didn't read that much about it. But he's the number 1 demon in hell. So what he does is he sells his soul to the number 2 and the number 3 demon. And so it comes to a point where if he dies and his soul becomes into dispute, it's going to create a war in hell. And the only winner is God. So the demons decide that John Constantine cannot die, because the only winner will be God, and so they cure him of the cancer and they let him live.
That sounds like something I'd do.
So we're getting the show on fucking TV, and I'm so excited for Hellblazer to come, because it's going to be like a gritty supernatural.
A show that I'm excited to see come out, and they released some promo images this week about it. Gotham.
Oh, with what's his face? Commissioner Gordon.
Commissioner
Gordon.
10-year-old Bruce Wayne, 10-year-old Selena Kyle, and it's got Ben McKenzie in it, who was in the OC and Southland.
So is it going to be kind of like a Smallville type of?
Kind of, only it's not going to follow Batman.
Okay.
It's going to follow Gordon. Yeah.
Okay.
And
so it's going to be like a True Detective kind of.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of excited for this, because I think that you're going to get some really wonky villains, and you're going to really get to love Commissioner Gordon, because I think that Commissioner Gordon gets shit on so much in the comic and the movies for not being a total badass. But when you think about it, there's this dude with rubber nipples, dressed like a bat running around, who's kind of just this asshole vigilante that ends up getting all these psychopaths to come to Gotham to try to beat him, okay? But you don't really get a love for Commissioner Gordon, how much faith he puts in that guy, and how he got to be Commissioner Gordon.
See, I think you're going to see with this show, it's going to introduce, like, the rise of these villains.
Yeah.
You're going to see these villain origin stories.
Yep.
Because I'm blanking on the name right now, but they've got the Penguin cast. And he's working for another gangster who was in the comics back in the day. And we all know that the Penguin.
True Detective.
We all know that the Penguin ends up taking over for him. So you're going to see.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's Detective Comics.
Yeah, Detective Comics, but no, it was the other gangster that he took over for. He had some kind of a fish name. It was weird, but
he's like pre-Kingpin kind of.
Yeah, and you're going to see these guys rising to their power status, and I think if Fox was to give Gotham 5-6 years on TV. The 7th year, you introduce a Batman series like Smallville.
Yeah.
Or you just you change the narrative of Gotham and you go from following Gordon to following Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
And then it's Bruce Wayne as a teenager honing his skills and going after in the sense of like Arrow did and Smallville did to take down his greatest enemies. And I think it's going to be really cool.
And you can introduce like a young Joker or
I think there's a plan
like
for
a
this
Riddler
show.
and stuff like
I think that they're going to kill Bruce's parents on the show.
Well, the description for the pilot episode was Gordon taking his most high-profile case yet, and then they cast Bruce Wayne as an 8-year-old, and you go, "Oh, okay,
Yeah, that's gonna
That's how they're going to start the show.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
That's a badass
But
way to
Cam, more important than anything we've ever discussed, it's break time, and Daddy needs his fix.
It is break time." All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna relapse. We'll come back for some more rehab. All right, and we are back. It's time to go back into rehab. Enough with the relapse.
Relapse, Daddy needs his fix. I need my fix.
I drank way too much.
And we're just going to go ahead and we're going to jump right into Jeets.
Jeets.
Champions League draw, Matt. They just they pulled out the quarterfinal pairings this week. What do you think?
We all know that Darren and I love soccer.
Absolutely.
It comes with being not from this land. I was born in Germany. Darren's heritage is from Denmark. So we follow soccer a lot because we find soccer to be extremely entertaining. And so kind of the focus of this Jeets segment,
Jeets,
is soccer. So the final 8 teams came through this week in Champions League. And the first lineup I want to talk about, and what I want to propose for us to do is to predict who do you think is going to advance into the Final Four from the Elite 8. The first match I want to talk about is Barcelona with Lionel Messi versus Atletico Madrid. Now, Atletico Madrid has some significant talent on there. They have Diego Costa, who's probably one of the best strikers in the world right now, with David Villa and Turan.
David Villa!
And so we're looking at this kind of lineup coming out against Barcelona, who's been really struggling. They just lost today against Real Madrid in their league lineup. Who do you think is going to pop out between Barcelona and Atletico Madrid?
I just think Atletico Madrid is playing way too good right now. It's just like the hockey playoffs. Whatever team goes in on a hot streak, I pick Atletico Madrid. I think they're going to create such a lead in the first matchup that they won't even show up to the second one.
I think the problem with Barcelona is that they've been like the power team for like the last 5-6 years, and a lot of those guys are getting older and older, and there's not enough behind Messi for them to keep advancing like they have been in the past.
So you're calling Atletico Madrid as well?
Yes.
I really like Atletico in this because Diego Costa has kind of been blowing off the fucking charts. Not to mention that the left middle position is filled in by Turan or David Villa, or sometimes both. I think that they have a really striking powerhouse center forward there, but the issue is that I just don't think that Barcelona is going to drop to a league rival inside the Champions League. So I think that Lionel Messi actually shows up for club, and I think that the aggregate is going to be 4-3 on away goals at Madrid for Barcelona.
I was thinking about that same score, but for Madrid winning.
I think that Madrid has a lot of positives going for them. I like the fact that there's 3 Spanish teams in the final because it kind of shows that Spain is really still dominant in the league play. But I really think that Barcelona is going to turn it up a notch because they've kind of been mailing it in. And I think with the loss to Real Madrid, they're going to be inspired to win at the Champions League. And so if they don't win their League Cup, I think that they're going to put an ass whipping on Madrid, and I think that they're going to edge out just barely because Lionel Messi, who traditionally doesn't show up for country, will show up for club, and I think that they're going to pull ahead 4-3. The next match is Real Madrid versus Chelsea.
No, it's Dortmund.
Borussia Dortmund.
Madrid.
What about you, Darren?
I think it's going to be too much for Dortmund. I mean, you got Lewandowski, who's basically got one foot out the door. He's on his way to Bayern.
Because he's going to Bayern.
And they've already lost Götze. And, Madrid is just stacked. I mean, you got Ronaldo, obviously, and they just picked up Bale. in the offseason.
Gareth Bale, yeah.
Going into this year. And then, who's that third guy they have?
Karim Benzema, the striker for France.
Yeah.
How could you forget about Karim Benzema?
Because I was thinking of somebody else, not Benzema. But anyway, I mean, there's just too much on their side. I mean, I don't even think they have a chance.
I really feel like this is Real Madrid's Champions League to lose. They're playing a striking formation right now that involves all three of Cristiano Ronaldo, Karim Benzema, and Gareth Bale. And right now they're putting up goals. And when they beat their previous opponent, they beat them 6-1 on the aggregate. And I think that the striking power of Real Madrid is going to overwhelm Borussia Dortmund. Now, Borussia Dortmund is not to be taken lightly because they have some really good players there still. And I think that if Borussia Dortmund can turn it up, there'll be a challenge. Because defensively, their coach kind of works them into a fervor into being able to defend. But I think that that's just too much right now. Because if you remember correctly, I believe that it was Borussia Dortmund that knocked out Real Madrid last time. Or was it so. Bayern? No.
Bayern knocked out Real Madrid.
That's correct.
Yeah, it was Bayern.
So I think that Real Madrid's going to come through with sheer striking force, but I don't think defensively that they're going to be able to compete on the next level. But I'm going to call Real Madrid in this, and I'm going to say that they're going to beat them. The next match is PSG versus Chelsea. And now PSG has silently built this arsenal with Lavezzi, Cavani, and Zlatan Ibrahimovic with that new Nike.
You don't mess with the Zlatan.
Don't mess with the Zlatan.
With Nike's new promo with Zlatan is Dare to be Zlatan. Zlatan, how did you know that? Did you know when you made that bicycle kick that it was going to go in?
Yes.
Well, I turned my back to the goal. I flicked my foot up. I hit him. I made contact with the ball. Is it going in? It already has. Dare to be Zlatan. I think that
really marketing campaign, by the way.
Today, Chelsea put an ass whipping on your team, Arsenal. Unfortunately, because I actually kind of like Arsenal. I think they need a striker, but
you can't get by with just Giroud. I mean, if we still had Van Persie or anybody else,
if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, then every day would be Christmas.
If my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. Yeah, but. You know, they could have made moves that could have put them in better position, and shockingly, for most of this season, Arsenal was at the top of the table, but now the rest of the league is caught up, or, you know, we're just laying in wait.
Plus, that 6-0 ass whipping was probably pretty hard to watch.
I think today was the season, because if they would have won, they would have been 1 point back. They lost, and now they're 7 back, and now they just basically got to fight to stay in the top 4 so they can be in Champions League next year.
I think that PSG is in the same position kind of as Real Madrid because they have some really striking powerhouses in there. I think that it really depends on what Chelsea shows up. Because if Chelsea shows up with the striking juggernaut that they've had, I don't think that they can compete with the likes of Zlatan and Cavani and all these other, like Thiago Silva is also one of the defenders there. I think that they have a really good stacked team, and nobody's really putting enough effort into PSG to think that they can just destroy Chelsea.
No.
If Chelsea shows up in the classic defend and counter-strike method that they've had in past, I think they have a chance to beat PSG. But right now, I think PSG's on fire.
Yep.
And I think Zlatan Ibrahimovic leads them to the promised land of the Final Four.
I think that PSG is going to win all the way. So obviously, I'm going to be picking them to win this matchup.
If we could get a Real Madrid versus PSG final, that would be incredible.
Oh, that'd be great.
This is going to be a firefight.
You're right.
This is going to be a firefight. This is going to set scoring records in Champions League. And I'd have to go with Chelsea on this one. Oh. I think Chelsea will be the team that can put up more, basically. And I don't mean to dumb it down that simple,
Samuel Eto'o scored today, but you also had Surla, and you also had...
Not enough people are talking about that Samuel Eto'o acquired by Chelsea.
Yeah.
Samuel Eto'o was the guy who led Barcelona to a lot of those Champions League finals. He's a phenomenal scorer, and replacing Fernando Torres with Samuel Eto'o is kind of incredible because he went to Russia for $500K a week. And he came to Chelsea to win titles again.
Well, wasn't it? It was Ronaldo, Eto'o, and who was the third guy in that?
Ronaldo was never a part of that. It was when Barcelona had their undefeatable wing. It was Lionel Messi.
Oh yeah, he was on Barcelona.
Samuel Eto'o, It was also Ronaldinho.
Yeah, Ronaldinho.
And Xavi and Iniesta were young and scoring goals.
Yeah.
And I think that with the way that I think the firefight is going to be between watching how many goals Zlatan and Ronaldo can put up between themselves. I think that PSG ends up edging it out with a 3-2 aggregate.
Career edgers.
And then it brings us to the current topic. My favorite team in the world, because I lived there, is Bayern Munich. And Bayern Munich really kind of put Arsenal on their ass with the way that they won. And Toni Kroos is kind of their Horcrux. Like they feared to see Toni Kroos, but Toni Kroos is on the last leg of his contract, and they've got Pep Guardiola as the coach. And I actually kind of love Pep Guardiola because he's the guy who, when Barcelona was so strong with Lionel Messi and Thierry Henry and Ronaldinho, it was Pep Guardiola that was leading them to those finals. And I really think that if we're going to see a true Champions League finish, I'd really like to see PSG advance, because I think Chelsea will go into that kind of defensive lull that they always go into, and it'll be really boring if PSG doesn't advance. I think Zlatan is really going to turn it up a notch, and I think he's going to be the goal-scoring leader of the Champions League right now.
Plus, I like to see like a little bit of, difference in the way things go. I don't like really dynasties and stuff, and Chelsea's already won the last couple of years. Bayern's won the last couple of years, so seeing like maybe a PSG win would be, just
now. So we're going to get Bayern versus Manchester United, and with Bayern, we've got some really good, talented guys. Ian Robin just signed to a 2-year deal. Sorry, I'm sorry, it's a 3-year deal because he's going 2017. I think that they've got with the team that they've got Mario Mandzukic, Robert Lewandowski to come. They've got Mario Götze, Toni Kroos, and coming off the bench is usually Toni Kroos and Thomas Müller. And Thomas Muller's been filling in that striking position. I think that maybe Bayern could part ways with Frank Ribery and put because I really think that Thomas Müller could play any position. Yeah. And for the German national team, he plays a lot of really diverse positioning. With Manchester United, Robin van Persie just went down for a 4 to 6 week knee injury, and so they've already announced that Robin van Persie will not be healthy for the Bayern Munich matchup in the first leg, which I believe will be at Old Trafford with Manchester United. And Manchester United has some real struggles. I think David Moyes is a joke. He was supposed to be a football genius, and to this date, he has not shown anything to depict that he is anything of the sort. I think that this is going to be an easy walkthrough for the Champions League champions.
Well, it definitely is now with RVP out. And, it might have been a little bit much tougher contest with Van Persie there, but without him, all you have is Wayne Rooney,
Danny Welbeck, Xavi Hernandez, Chicharito.
Chicharito. I just think it's too much firepower for Bayern, so Bayern easy, probably 4 or 5 goals to 1 or 2.
I really think that we've got a different situation with Bayern. I think with Pep Guardiola, he's about scoring goals. And with Pep Guardiola, he's running these really offensive kind of striking formations that are he's taking out defensive middles. And the problem with Bayern is that their defensive capabilities are not as strong as they used to be because they don't have as many defenders as they used to. I think in the free agent market in the offseason, they really need to focus on defense because Xavi Hernandez right now is filling in for Dante, who will be he's red carded for the next match. And so we get him back at home, but you're looking at an opportunity where if Manchester United doesn't turn it on and beat them at home, they're not going to win.
Not at all.
I'm going to go out on a limb here.
Oh, if you say Man U against my boys, I will stab you in the gut in your sleep.
I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to pick Man U out of sheer dumb luck. There's no expert analysis on this whatsoever. Just dumb luck. They're going to play 11 back at Old Trafford. They're going to keep it at a 0-0 draw in the first go-around, and then they're going to attack at the Allianz. And I think one's going to get through.
Do you have an affinity for the English Premier League?
No, I'm a homer, and the Glazers own my Bucks. So I'm gonna go for Man U. You know what? Okay. We've all agreed on everything here so far.
You picked Chelsea.
Yeah. So, you know, I
Barcelona.
got to be that guy in this.
Okay.
Because it's a psychological thing. You know, Bayern might go into this thinking, "Oh, we're going to roll all over them. Van Persie's out."
But there's a difference between.
I think they're going to punch Big Brother in the mouth.
I think there's a difference between what you're thinking of rolling over and what I'm thinking of. Is that traditionally David Moyes doesn't have an answer for high-scoring teams, and Pep Guardiola has not failed to score in any league game that he's played so far this year. Bayern Munich is a position. They're like some 23 points ahead in the league.
Yeah.
This weekend they lock up the Bundesliga trophy, which is the first time that it's ever been locked up, and the earliest that it's ever been. So Bayern Munich is already the Bundesliga champion. Okay, you can say if they lose all their games except one, they still win the Bundesliga.
Yep.
Okay. Manchester United does not have an answer for the powerhouse that is German scoring in Bayern Munich right now. You're talking about having Mario Mandzukic and Mario Götze coming through and scoring goals. And if they don't score goals, on the wings, they have Frank Ribery and Ian Robben. And if they don't score, they can sub in Thomas Müller or Toni Kroos. You're talking about a team that is simply dynamic right now with the amount of money they can spend to pick up talent. And the only reason they're letting Thomas Müller go is because they know Robert Lewandowski is coming in the next season. He's one of the premier strikers in the world right now. You're looking at a Bayern Munich team that is very poised to be able to pick up the next championship. The only thing that I see being a problem is in the Final Four is that I don't think that they have the defensive capabilities to stop a team like Real Madrid or Atletico Madrid.
My word means nothing here. I'm not a soccer guy. I've barely watched anything. I just, there's due to be an upset.
Well, see, the weird thing, though, is in soccer, unlike the NFL, you don't have a lot of those, underdog teams that rise up and win a game here and there, or, like, in the playoffs, you don't have a lot of
That's why it goes to aggregate.
Yeah,
who is the best team?
Yeah, it really definitely benefits, who's the better team in the overall scheme, So it's kind of like baseball in that. It's like the better team usually wins out over the long haul. And even with Van Persie, I just see it difficult of them being able to come
David
out on top.
Moyes has stepped on his dick more times than any other coach I can ever attest to. And like right now with the Champions League, I'm really looking at even in the EPL. Like I really like Brendan Rodgers and Liverpool to pull the upset. I love Luis Suarez. I love Brendan Rodgers,
and he might break the goal record this year.
Luis Suarez is on fire, and it kind of goes into one of these things that we're going to talk about in a minute. But I really think that Bayern Munich is poised to be they are the champions, and I think that they're getting some serious favoritism in these draws. And I think the best possible matchup that they could have was against Manchester United. I think they're going to put their foot solidly in Moyes' ass. I don't think that they're going to be able to come up with any kind of counter-striking effort to be able to beat them. I think that they're going to put the pressure on them early, just destroy them at Old Trafford, and I think that they're going to pull the draw, or even the loss at the Allianz Arena. But I think that the aggregate's going to be something like 5-2.
Now, would you agree that Moyes is kind of like one of those guys that is so used to being on a lower echelon team that he has to do all like these crazy machinations, kind of like a Joe Madden with the Rays, making all these different moves to make things work. Now he has a top-flight team, and he has all these players, and he doesn't know what to do with them.
The beauty of Sir Alex Ferguson, the original coach of Manchester United, the one that I loved, was that he could be able to pull the diamond from the rough. And he could get a guy like from Everton, Wayne Rooney, or he could convince a guy like Robin Van Persie to come sign with Manchester United for £20 million a year. He can pull like rabbits out of his hat. With David Moyes and the inability to be able to qualify for Champions League next year unless they win it, because Manchester United is 7th in the Champions League pool, I don't think that they're going to be able to beat a powerhouse like Bayern Munich. I think the worst possible matchups for them would have been PSG, Real Madrid, and Bayern Munich. I think that Bayern Munich has exactly the tools to defeat Manchester United and just bury them into the ground.
Yeah, absolutely.
That brings us to our next topic, the World Cup. Now, being born in Germany, being a son of the fatherland, It's Deutschland, baby. Deutschland is that we're going into the World Cup this year, and in June we're going to start seeing our matches be performed in our groups. And so what I want to see from you guys is that, Darren, you're a venerated soccer fan. You've been in it for a long time. We've been arguing these things for a long time. I actually have a huge respect for Denmark because of you. And with Cameron, you've been introduced to this new kind of world of soccer. Is that
USA to win it all, baby.
It's never going
Not
to happen.
for another 10 years, possibly.
We're going to go through the World Cup brackets.
Oh, we got Julian Green, man. We're unstoppable.
And that's going to be the beginning of the progression of us maybe morphing into somewhat of
The
a
beauty
decent team.
of UEFA World Cup teams is that if you cap for the team one time, you are a member of that team forever. So if you go to play for another team, you can't play in any kind of cup contention. If you cap for another team, you get an asterisk by your name. Okay, so Julian Green is an American who's playing for Bayern Munich right now. He's an 18-year-old kid, so you have to depend on an 18-year-old kid to be able to produce the kind of goal-scoring power that you need to advance. So what I want to do right now is I want to walk through the groups and talk about them and see who you think is going to advance first. Okay, Group A is Brazil, Croatia, Mexico, and the Cameroon. So Brazil, Croatia, Mexico, and the Cameroon.
Brazil and Cameroon.
Brazil and Mexico.
I think it's going to be Brazil and Croatia. Croatia has Petr Cech, the goalie from Chelsea, as their goalie. Not to mention the Croats have some significant talent with Mario Mandzukic, Ivica Olic. I think they have an opportunity to really upset Mexico, who hasn't been really performing in the World Cup standings and in National League changes. I think that Brazil, because it's going to be in Brazil, they've got Neymar, they've got a lot of name-brand talent there. I think Brazil's going to waltz through that, no problems. But I think that Croatia is going to really pop out from that. And what was your guess, Cameron?
Brazil and Cameroon.
Did you know Samuel Eto'o is a member of the Cameroon striking squad?
Negative, Ghost Rider.
It's a good guess. I like that. What about you, Darren?
I knew that he was, but I didn't think they were going to have enough to make it out of this group.
So I call Brazil and Croatia. You call
Brazil and Cameroon. There's
Brazil
no
and
way that
Mexico.
the host country does not get through group stages.
Oh,
Group
plus they're
B.
a dominant team still.
Group B is arguably, for me, the group of death because they have some really good teams there. Okay, We've got Spain, the Netherlands, Chile, and Australia. I'm calling this out right now. I'm calling Spain because they're the World Cup power.
Who was the third team?
It's Chile.
Wasn't Chile in the first group?
No,
No,
that was Croatia, Mexico, and
I
Cameroon.
misspoke.
There was a C team.
Yeah. Croatia.
I think it's going to be Spain and Chile because Chile has a lot of players that a lot of people are not looking at, with Vidal and Sanchez and a lot of other guys. They played a friendly with Germany, and I really got a chance to see how good Chile really is. And I think that the Netherlands has been playing pretty crap as of late. Even though they have Robin van Persie, Ian Robben, Wesley Sneijder, they have a lot of really good talent. Those teams never really played well together. And the Netherlands drops the ball a lot, and they tend to underwhelm.
Like in the final 4 years ago?
Yeah. They tend to underwhelm. So we're looking at a position now where I say that it's going to be Spain and Chile. What do you say, Cameron?
I would have to say Spain and the Netherlands.
You're a Robin van Persie guy, though.
I am a Robin van Persie guy. He's my guy. He's my grinder.
It's a good guy to choose because he can create goals. He got that hat trick hero against Olympiacos.
Oh yeah, it was beautiful.
And to be totally honest, speaking in Champions League, Manchester United had no place being there because Olympiacos had beaten their pants off. And then Robin van Persie comes through in hat-trick heroes.
Put the team on his back, though.
And wins. But I don't think without Robin van Persie in the Champions League, and I think going into the national stage, I don't think that they're going to be able to pull it off. But you say you're calling, what is it, Spain and the Netherlands. What about you, Darren?
Well, a couple weeks ago when we talked about this, I think I picked Spain and the Netherlands, but I think after a little bit of research and seeing some of the players that Chile has that I wasn't really familiar with, I think I'm going to have to go with Chile with Spain, and Netherlands gets bounced out.
I think that's a pretty good choice. The Group C is Colombia, Greece, the Ivory Coast, and Japan.
Give me Colombia and Japan.
What about you, Darren?
I'm going to go with Greece and Japan.
I'm going to go with the Ivory Coast and Japan. The reason I go with the Ivory Coast is because they have one Didier Drogba.
Oh, Drogba.
Drogba is my Horcrux. He's the guy that I fucking love, but I hate to see him play. Drogba is that guy who can create any kind of chance from the abominable abyss. Your team is losing, it doesn't matter because you have Didier Drogba on your team. And I think he's still playing great at Galatasaray.
Especially since when he was on Chelsea, he helped defeat Bayern in the
at
final.
home. They helped beat Bayern at home in the Allianz Arena in Germany for the cup.
In the Allianz.
It is specifically Didier Drogba that caused that. I really think so. We've got a kind of a mixed view on that group. Group D is Uruguay, Costa Rica, England, and Italy. Now, I really like in this group specifically Uruguay because they have Cavani and Luis Suarez, the goal-scoring leader from the Champions League right now.
I agree with that.
And I think also that Italy is going to eke through just barely because England seems to drop the ball every time they get in these positions, whether it be the Euros or...
Well, you're not supposed to put the ball in your hands.
Well, they dribble it kind of shitty, and they feed it to the other guys. Plus, Italy still has Mario Balotelli, Di Natale, a lot of really good guys.
Isn't this a team that was in the finals 8 years ago?
Yeah, but it's a totally different team we're talking about 8 years ago. Guys are completely different. I think that it's going to be Uruguay and Italy that advances through that group. What do you think?
I agree with that assessment.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Uruguay and Italy, too.
So we're all agreeing that England is going to drop the ball and be a general shithouse.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Group E. Switzerland, Ecuador, France, and Honduras. Now, France just put a major ass-whipping on a friendly with the Netherlands. I think that France, even though they've had the problems in the past, they've got guys like Sami Nasri, Franck Ribéry, Karim Benzema. Karim Benzema just blew up in this game, this friendly against the Netherlands. I think that France is definitely going to advance, and I'm kind of picking a dark horse in this group. I'm going to say Switzerland actually advances through on this. And the reason I say that is because they got guys like Shaqiri and other guys. The Switzerland is a kind of a dark horse in this industry because they don't have a lot of really name-brand guys, but I think they got a lot of heart. If I was going to pick a guy outside of that, I'd say maybe Ecuador, but I don't think Honduras has a chance. What do you guys think?
I'm going to go with Honduras and France.
For no
reason.
I'm going to go with France, definitely, because, I mean, it's pretty... I would think is an easy group. I don't know too much about Switzerland, Ecuador, or Honduras to really give an educated guess, but from what you said about Switzerland, that kind of swayed me a little bit. So I think I'm going to have to go with them.
The only way this group would have been easier for France is if they had a team from the country of Legs Brokistan in there and Retardaville.
I like to pull for Retardaville. I think they're a really good team.
Yeah, they're just a little chromosome short, but...
Group F, Argentina, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Iran, and Nigeria. Now, I think that obviously Argentina is grouped to advance.
Yeah.
They've got this striking powerhouse. Lionel Messi, Sergio Aguero, the guy from Inter Milan, I forget his name. But they've got a really strong team. I think they're going to advance through. And I think it's pick one out of the hat for the rest of the guys. I say maybe Iran actually gets through just based on goals in the group.
And I ran so far away.
What do you guys think?
I'm going to go with Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Yeah.
Group G, the group of death. This is the most highly contested group inside the group. It is Germany, Portugal, Ghana. Why is it always Ghana? And the United States. I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say that Germany walks through no problems with one exception. That Joachim Löw is a student of the United States coach schooling. What's his name? Jurgen Klinsmann. Yeah, Jurgen Klinsmann. Jurgen Klinsmann is a perennial World Cup hopeful. Okay, I think it's actually going to be Germany and the United States. What do you guys think?
America! 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 Fuck yeah! Coming to town to save the motherfucking day, yeah! We'll go with the United States and Germany.
I'm definitely going with Germany. I was kind of leaning towards Portugal, but I think the United States are going to squeak by because I think Ronaldo is going to be on a bit of a hangover from UEFA and maybe not as focused or whatever. Plus, I don't think he has as much help. So I think we're going to squeak by on goal differential.
I just think that everybody in that group is going to beat up on everybody. This is going to be the AL Central of World Cup groups.
Yeah.
They're just going to each beat each other, and it's going to come down to goal differential, and it's just a matter of who outscores the other. And you know what? If I'm Germany and I'm sitting there against the U.S., and if the U.S. beats me by 3, they're
No
in.
way.
If they beat me by 2, then Portugal's in. Give up the 3rd goal. I'd much rather face America in the knockout stages than Portugal.
True. Especially, who
Here's the
else is
thing.
on there besides Ronaldo?
Hulk.
Oh, Hulk's on them?
Yes.
Smash.
How about this? Nani.
Oh.
Portugal is actually a pretty good team. The problem is they have that French persuasion where the players don't necessarily play well together. Now, with Jurgen Klinsmann and the Americans, he's been trying out a lot of different formations to try to make sure that the Americans work well. Jurgen Klinsmann is the best possible coach we could have in this situation. And I'm a Germany guy. Wear the Germany kit. I root for Germany. That's my team because they've got Bastian Schweinsteiger and also Mario Götze. Not to mention Mario Gomez. They've got a really powerhouse team there. I really don't see the Germans. The Germans changed the way they thought about things because traditionally, German soccer has always been about one thing: technique. We are the most technical powerhouse in the world. But they did something. They changed. They became younger and they became faster.
And they did it very quickly.
Because when the original Euro came around, the World Cup, they decided that as a country that we were going to dedicate $6 billion to the youth development program of Germany. And so you're getting guys like Manuel Neuer, and who's your boy from Arsenal? It's Mesut Ozil.
Ozil, yeah.
And these guys grew up together. So you're getting a lot of guys who grew up together in these youth development programs who are very young and very good. Per Mertesacker is kind of old. But you've got Philip Lahm, Mark Hummels. You've also got Tony Kroos. You've also got a lot of Thomas Müller.
Now, where's
Lucas
Sergio
Podolski.
Biscuits?
Sergio Busquets is in Spain.
Oh.
Sergio Busquets.
Sergio Biscuits!
But I really think that Portugal is going to come out underwhelming. I think that if we're going to have a dark horse come out of this, it's going to be Ghana. Ghana has some really good team play.
Why is it always Ghana?
Why is it always Ghana? But I really think that Germany's going to walk through no problem, and I think that if it's going to be a toss-up, it's going to be between Portugal and the United States. I really like to think that the United States is a lot more well-prepared than we think they are. And I think that the team that they're going to beat to get their 3 points is going to be Germany. Because I think that it's going to be Jurgen Klinsmann versus Jurgi Löw, and I think that it's going to be the student versus the master. And I think that that's going to be the one game. If the United States does not beat Germany, they're not going to advance.
Thanks for dashing my dreams, Matt.
The Padawan has become the Jedi Master.
I think that Germany's just going to waltz through no problem. But Group H: Belgium, Algeria, Russia, and the Korean Republic.
Who gives a shit?
I think it's going to be Belgium. Belgium has a lot of really good players. Eden Hazard, Fellaini. They've got a lot of really good talent there. And nobody's really expecting Belgium to really show up. They've got some pretty sick uniforms, too. But I think it's going to be Belgium and Russia advancing through that. What do you think?
Yeah, sure. Same thing.
I got Russia. I mean, you got Putin. I don't think he's gonna, he's already commanded them to win the Olympics.
In Soviet Russia, goal scores you.
But I really think that if you're not watching soccer, you need to take a little bit of time, watch some YouTube, learn the game. The World Cup is coming. and you really need to focus on what is the team you're going to root for. If you want to stand behind your nation, this is the time to do it. I root for Germany, but if you want to root for the United States, it's not a bad team. It's a very good team, but they're in a shitty group because it seems like UEFA always seems to pigeonhole Germany, Portugal, Ghana, and whoever manages to make it through, whether it be Denmark or the United States.
Yep.
But outside of that...
But it's a random draw, right?
It's supposed to be a random draw.
Random, with air quotes.
That's why Argentina and Brazil got those cheesecake groups, and Germany got put in the group of death like always.
Yeah.
Speaking of the unknown, football... Also in the United States.
The real football.
Football is soccer.
Real football.
You play with your feet.
Yeah, you play with your feet in football too.
Hand egg. Hand egg.
Punting.
Yeah, kickoffs. Don't forget about kickoffs.
Free agency is upon us.
Yes.
Okay. Now, who's winning free agency? I think it's the Buccaneers.
Yes, absolutely. There's no team that has overhauled their roster more than the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Lovie Smith kept saying, we're a 4-12 team. We're a 4-12 team. And you really didn't think about it until you saw all the moves that they made, all the people that they cut, all the people that they signed. This team was loaded with a bunch of one-percenters. Yeah, if we want to put it into some kind of socio-economic thing, we had a bunch of one-percenters and a bunch of dirt-poor motherfuckers. Okay? You know, guys with big contracts. Vincent Jackson, Deshaun Goldson, Darrell Revis. You can even throw Gerald McCoy in there, Donald Penn. And what do? They cut some of the big names. You know, Donald Penn gone.
Worth it.
Darrell Revis gone.
$60 million of worth it.
Yeah, and what this team did is they added some middle class to the team. They didn't go out and sign. Yeah, they could have gone out and signed 4 of the biggest names on the market, but what do? They make a splash with Michael Johnson. They give him a huge contract off of one season. And, you know, what they did is they got the edge rusher that they need. So, this team is loaded up with some middle-class talent now. Brandon Myers is going to be a very quality tight end. I advise owning him in fantasy because in a Tedford offense, he's going to get the ball a lot.
Hopefully he does better than he did last year with my Giants because I picked him thinking that being with Eli...
The Giants stepped away from using the tight end, though.
They've always done that. Even with Shockey, they kind of just like... Tom Coughlin's offense has always been like the tight end is a blocker, he's like a 6th lineman, and then maybe we'll throw it to him if he's like a check down kind of guy.
But to be honest, he's pulled 2 Super Bowls out of it. It's a pretty good format.
No, yeah, his format has worked out beautifully, but, you know, I was thinking with, you know, Myers, the last year with the Raiders, he had like 80 catches, he had like 7 touchdowns, and I'm like, that was with like Terrell Pryor.
Brandon Myers got me to the playoffs 2 years ago in fantasy.
Yeah. So I was thinking he was
the one that I won?
Yes, the one that you won.
No, but the Cavs, it's 2 years ago.
Brandon Myers got me to the fantasy football playoffs when Jimmy Graham went down with his hurt vagina.
His bruised vagina.
His bruised... he strained his hymen.
I really like the difference in that we're seeing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. As we know, we broadcast this show from Tampa. So we have a certain team liking to Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
No, we hold season tickets to them, so we're kind of minority shareholders in them.
But I really think that with the 8 moves that they've made in free agency, Jake Locker, Michael Johnson.
We didn't get Jake Locker.
Jake Locker. The quarterback?
Josh McCown.
Yeah, I was going to say. I don't remember hearing that one.
Well, I mean, they were both career backups.
Yes.
I think we were supposed to get Jake Locker and he retired.
No, Jake Locker
he just got drafted like 2 years ago.
Wow. Maybe I was drunk.
We were supposed to get Jake Plummer.
This ad brought to you by...
And then he decided, I don't want to play here, so...
This ad brought to you by...
Too much beer.
Too much maple whiskey.
Yes. Jim Beam is the
Jim
devil.
Beam Maple is the tastiest devil in the world.
Now, if I had to pick a team outside of the Buccaneers that won free agency,
Alteron Werner.
Well, no, we got him.
Yeah.
No, if we had to pick a team outside the Bucs that won free agency, I can tell you who lost free agency.
The
That's the
Oakland
Dallas
Raiders.
Cowboys.
Yes, the Cowboys.
Well, a team outside the Bucs that won free agency would have to be the Denver Broncos.
Yes.
I don't
That
know
was
where
mine.
the fuck they got
I want
all
to
this
see their
money from.
fucking payroll, man,
Yeah.
because there's no way
I
that
don't
they can
know how
sign
you go out and you get T.J. Ward, fucking Aqib Talib,
and
you still
DeMarcus Ware.
and you
Yeah,
still give
DeMarcus
$10
Ware.
million to DeMarcus Ware. You guys were in cap hell before.
And they signed Emmanuel Sanders.
Yeah, where the fuck is all this money coming from?
Eric Decker only got released for $800K.
Yeah, they had no money going into free agency, and all of a sudden they come out with this shit. What the fuck?
I mean,
Where did that money come from?
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't release enough guys, I thought, to have, and I don't remember how much they were under the cap to sign that many people too. But I know they raised it $10 million, so that can free up a lot of
yeah,
money.
but they didn't give.
They
a lot
gave it all to Marcus Ware.
No, they
Where
didn't.
the fuck did they get the money to sign both Aqib
Yeah.
Talib to that lucrative deal and T.J. Ward, arguably one of the best corners in the league?
Here's the thing: Aqib Talib got something like $20-odd million in guaranteed money, but he still holds a cap hit of $9 million.
No.
Where the fuck did that come from? Where the fuck did the money that they gave to T.J. Ward come from? Where did it come from?
They
That's my
signed
thing.
very lucrative free agents
Yes.
to deals, very good deals. Where is that money coming from?
Unless they're trying to load up for a World Series run, and then next year there's going to be a fire sale.
There obviously is, but they still have to be underneath the cap. And I don't know how much they were under it last year, and I don't know how much they had prior to this season.
They had less money available than the Bucks, and the Bucks had $16 million available
Yeah, so
after they raised it.
For all the signings they made, they would have to have been like 20, 30 million under the cap.
These deals have to be backloaded to no end.
Yeah, not for this year.
I mean, here in a couple of weeks, the numbers will come out on what it pays per year. I'll about guarantee that most of these deals are backloaded. But
And if
Marcus
not-
Ware is 3 years, $30 million fully
and if
guaranteed.
not, they're going to have to make a lot of cuts just to fit under the cap.
Oh yeah, and guess what? Von Miller's going to need a contract soon.
He ain't getting it. Not from the Broncos.
Demarius
He's gonna get
Thomas
it
is
from
going to need
somewhere
a
'cause he's
contract
awesome.
soon.
I know.
Julius Thomas is going to need a contract soon.
Yeah.
They let Noshawn Moreno walk. I mean, he held like a $6 million note.
Yeah, but they also have Monty, get me a Diet Coke.
Yeah, and they got Ronnie Hillman.
And Ronnie Hillman.
Yeah.
Which brings us back to our original discussion a couple weeks ago, is how running backs are run in a different kind of format than they were before, where you're running 2 or 3 running backs in your formation to kind of get you're using running backs at a sort of skilled position, where you were using wide receivers before. You had the slot wide receiver, you had the long bomb wide receiver, you had the route wide receiver, but now you're running running backs in a different format, where you're using your punch it guy, or your yardage guy, or your 4-yard guy. Okay, so I really want to see where did Denver come up with the money to be able to get these free agents, and what are they going to be able to do to keep the guys like Von Miller? If you let Von Miller walk, you're making a hell of a mistake.
Von Miller hits the market. He's an Oakland Raider.
I
don't think so.
Uh-huh.
I think that he's going to go to somebody like Kansas City or the New England Patriots, and they're going to pay him to show up.
No, because Oakland will have the money.
I really think that John Elway looked at it like this. We were in the Super Bowl. We almost had a good enough team, but the defense is what killed us, and they're trying to do everything they can to win it next year.
They should have signed another center. That's the son of a bitch that's responsible for the Super Bowl going south. But going back to winners in free agency, number 3, y'all are going to be very surprised by this.
I think I might.
The Jacksonville Jaguars.
I agree with that.
I'm surprised.
The Jaguars going out there and they boosted that defense. You haul off and he grabbed a couple of defenders from Seattle. The names escape me, but you look at Red Bryant's one of them.
Yeah.
He was a 3rd down run stopper. And when you're playing in a division that has Arian Foster, fucking Chris Johnson, Sean Green,
Chris Johnson's released.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. They're going to try to keep him, but he'll have to agree to lower money.
He won't.
And then to haul off
maybe
and replace
Trent Richardson if he ever decides to show up in Indy.
And then to haul off and replace Maurice Jones-Drew with a white boy.
You want to
I
know what
love
the
that.
lineup is in Indy for the running back position? It's Donald Brown,
Ahmad Bradshaw.
a fat head of Edgerrin James,
Number 49 is
A
the
Girl
janitor. And then number 50 is Trent Richardson.
We can bring Rudy out.
Yeah. Rudy.
Rudy.
I really
Actually,
think,
you know what? You'd have better chance with Sean Astin, the guy who played Rudy.
I really think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are on the right track by trying to fill in positions. They've got this incredible offensive line they've amassed, and they're putting our boy, the guy the quarterback we picked up from Chicago, Josh McCown.
Yep.
And Josh McCown has already come out in interviews and said that I understand what my role is. If they draft a quarterback, I know my role is to prepare that quarterback for the next future. I also understand that if they don't draft a quarterback in the first round, that it's my job for the next 2 years to make sure that they are playoff contenders.
It's my job for the next 2 years to make sure they don't get a quarterback.
That's really what he should say, because, I mean, he's always said that he wants to be a starter, and he wanted to go to a team that would let him at least have the potential for starting, so that's probably why he was attracted to Tampa Bay.
But Tampa Bay now has the Aaron Rodgers situation where they can train a guy behind Josh McCown to really learn the offense and really become an incredible quarterback, but they have to draft the right guy.
I've said this name before, and I will say it again. Jimmy Garoppolo.
Jimmy Garoppolo is a great opportunity because he's the guy who shattered Tony Romo's records. I think that he's a really good, consistent guy. I think that everybody's looking at the Johnny Manziels, the Blake Bortles, the
Teddy Bridgewaters.
You've also got other guys in the draft as well. Derek Carr, Mettenberger.
Mettenberger is also another one. You know what?
That injury is
if you don't get Garoppolo in the second, you can get Mettenberger in the third or fourth. And I think there's a reason why the Bucks cut Revis to get that third-round pick back instead of it being a fourth round.
So what you're saying is I should probably put my Mike Glennon jersey in the same place I put my Chris Sims jersey?
Yeah. First things first, I need to crack you upside the head. Why the fuck did you buy a Mike Glennon jersey?
White Hope.
It's not the Great White Hype. This is not a Samuel L. Jackson movie. This is not
This
something...
ain't White Man Can't Jump. This ain't Woody Harrelson up in this bitch.
Mike Glennon has this problem with looking like Napoleon Dynamite, 1, and 2, that he gets really frustrated when a guy starts breaking through the line. If he had the opportunity last year to prove that he could do the fundamental things that a quarterback normally does, but you brought in Jeff Tedford, and Jeff Tedford, to me, is the quarterback guy. When you bring a guy into your coaching staff like Jeff Tedford, you're really looking for the opportunity to bring in that name brand quarterback. You're looking for your franchise quarterback, and I've said this time and time again. Tampa Bay's biggest problem at quarterback is the word serviceable. Serviceable is not acceptable. Acceptable is getting a guy like Jeff Garcia or Brad Johnson or any of these other guys.
See, serviceable was a great word in the NFL 10 years ago.
Yes.
Then they changed the rules.
Yes. Now serviceable is not good enough.
This is a quarterback league. This is a wide receiver league. The rules are catered to quarterbacks and wide receivers. So you're looking at the opportunity where if they don't get a guy like Jimmy Garoppolo, you're looking at a time period where you're going to be really struggling in this league. Look at our division. Cam Newton, Matt Ryan, Drew Brees, and then who?
See, Matt Ryan came back down to earth this year.
Yes.
I don't think he's going to be the same after this past season, but
you're going to have a healthy Roddy White. You're going to have a healthy Julio Jones. You're going to have the opportunity to draft positional players. Tony Gonzalez is gone, but that doesn't really matter. You're going to have the opportunities in Atlanta were really bad because his star wide receivers were not performing because they were hurt.
And the defense wasn't that good.
Did you know that this is the first year since middle school that Matt Ryan as quarterback didn't win 10 games in a season? The guy doesn't know how to not win 10 games a year.
But that's not all on him. I mean,
I think it's mental.
He got paid.
Yeah.
Homeboy got paid. And Homeboy got paid is a popular theory in this podcast. I think that the problem is that when a homeboy gets paid, it doesn't matter what race or creed you are. If you get your money because you performed well in the last season, you are going to take an epic shit on yourself the next season. And it's going to be a struggle to come up to deserve the money you got paid.
Joe Flacco.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, there's a lot of people that can fit that bill.
Yeah, Alan Hainsworth.
I don't even think he ever lived up to getting the contract in the first place, but...
Who, Hainsworth?
Yeah.
Hainsworth's contract was never structured to go the full year, $100 million. Fun fact, it was a 3-year, $42 million contract because in year 4, he went up to like a $28 million cap number.
No.
It was never intended for him to make it the full 7 or get $100 million.
But, I mean, I don't remember him being all that great to get that $100 million contract in the first place. I know he was between the Redskins and the Bucks. The Redskins eventually signed him, and he didn't live up to it. They cut him. The Bucks wound up having him for, like a year. But
he's great. He was a great player if you wanted to sign him to do a Broadway revival of Stomp.
Stomp his fat ass all over trash cans.
Stomp the yard.
So it's gonna shape up to be a very good season. The Bucks went from 4-12 to 8-8 with these moves.
I don't think they beat 8. I think they're gonna win 7 games. I think they're gonna be mostly away games,
which is gonna be awesome for us because we'll just get rip-roaring drunk at every game.
How does that change from anything we do now?
Oh, yeah, man. It was so depressing last year. We were going through 3 cases of beer from 8 o'clock in the morning until noon.
That's the beauty of Coors Light, because you can drink 10 Coors Light or 100 Coors Lights, and you're the same amount drunk as you were at 10 as you are at 100.
I think the Saints are probably the favorite to win. I mean, we got Carolina's in the division, and you got Cam Newton. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, now he has to have surgery, so he's probably not going to be back until right before training camp and preseason. I think the Bucks can possibly win 9 games this season and maybe contend for a playoff.
I'm going to go out on a limb here. You saw Carolina doesn't have any wide receivers.
Not yet.
They signed Tyquan Underwood, of all people.
Woohoo!
You know what? This team is in a position to where they need to win. They need to win now.
And they haven't made the moves to do it.
Gettleman made a lot of shifty moves. All right? They've got 2 third-round picks this year from trades.
Okay.
1 third-rounder is going to go to Philadelphia. Deshaun Jackson.
There's already 3 teams in kind of dispute for Deshaun Jackson.
I think he goes to the Jets because they got Michael Vick.
I think he goes to San Francisco.
I think he comes here.
I don't think he comes here. There's 3 teams that have notably been out for.
I think it's a deal where it's Deshaun Jackson for Mike Williams and a 5th. That way, so we get rid of our head case in Mike Williams, and we acquire a guy who excelled under Tedford's offense at Cal.
There's only 3 teams right now that are actually viably going for Deshaun Jackson. It's Oakland, San Francisco, and the New York Jets. I think that the Jets aren't going to they already put their money inside of Eric Decker to come to New York.
All up in him.
And the reality show, because his wife is hot.
Yes. He's going to fuck that team in the ass.
She's a whore, too.
Yeah.
Have you seen, like, her pictures and Twitter?
Oh, God. Yeah, Jesse James. Jesse James. Yeah, she's a country artist. Dear God.
Isn't that a porn star?
No.
She is. Jesse Jane is.
Jesse Jane is. Jesse James is his wife.
Yeah.
And she's a country artist. She's not a very good country artist, but she's great to look at. Mm-hmm. But I think Decker's going to fuck the Jets in the ass.
Oh, yeah.
They have no idea what they've gotten themselves into with Eric Decker.
Because how good was Decker before Manning got there? I mean,
he was the third guy.
He was decent when you had Kyle Orton and Tebow, but he was an afterthought, and then...
Yep.
Then they pick up Wes Welker, and he becomes the number 3.
Yeah.
Now, it brings me to another topic. Now, this has been alluded to in a couple other podcasts, and it is Darren's brainchild. We're gonna switch speeds. We're gonna get kind of crazy about it. We're gonna talk about the thing we like to talk about, which is beer. What beer should you be drinking, babe? Beer. Fetch me a beer. My beer that I like to choose for this particular podcast is we like to walk through and talk about beers we've tried, talk about different beers we like, talk about beers you should be drinking. My beer choice is Midas Touch. It's from Dogfish Head Brewery, or it's out of Delaware, and it's supposed to be, the backstory is that it's a 2,700-year-old brewery secret delved up from ingredients from King Midas's tomb. All right, it's like the champagne of beers. It's this grapey, really good kind of different beer, and it's also a 9%, which is ridiculous when you're talking about beers. I find it to be extremely smooth, and it's very tasty and very good. But it comes in the 4-pack, and it's very expensive. But if you're looking to kick off your night, there's no better way than to crack open a Midas Touch, pour it in a glass, and drink it. I think this beer is incredible. Darren, what beer should I be drinking?
Lately, I've been just drinking the shit out of Sam Adams Cream Stout.
It's a good beer, man. It's a really good beer. It's been out for a while, too.
Yes, and, I've kind of morphed away from, like, the original big three, the Millers, the Budweisers, and, Coors. And, I've been drinking a lot of stouts and porters lately. And with the Sam Adams Cream Stout, it has a little bit of chocolate flavor to it, a little bit of, like, mocha. And, it's almost like not drinking a beer. It's like drinking, like, kind of like a chocolate milk.
It's really smooth for a porter, man.
Yeah. And, it's like drinking, like, a very heavy chocolate milk. But it has that, like, 8% alcohol in it.
I think that it's one of those beers that you can catch from, like, one of those diversified 12-packs, or it's one of those things that you can walk into your local grocery store and pick up. But Cream Stout has one of those underwhelming Sam Adams favorites, and I think that a lot of Americans, when they're getting in this craft beer craze, and I think that they try to stay away from name brand, Cream Stout is something that they could really get behind. And I think it's a really good beer coming from a major brewery. Cameron, do you have a beer you really like?
Yeah, most of y'all who know me, listen to the show, y'all know that I have an affinity for the good bourbons. So, about a year and a half ago, I took a trip up to Kentucky.
Bourbon country.
Terrible trip. Had no fun. Got to see the distillery.
That's still. Mostly because you're ex-chick.
Oh, yeah, that was terrible. Big
no
mistake.
names mentioned.
But, the one good thing about the hotel that I was stuck in for 6 days
is you stuck in her butt.
They had a bar. They had a bar inside the hotel, which was pretty awesome. Bar and a hot tub.
Oh, the bar is better.
And so I would just get up and I would just walk down to the bar. Just kill time, talk to people, whatever. They had Kentucky Bourbon Barrel Ale,
which is I've had
on tap.
You showed me this beer when you came back, and you made me drink it. And I thought that Bourbon Barrel was going to be terrible because I'm not a bourbon guy. I generally tend to lean towards, like, clear liquors. But when you showed me this beer, it knocked me out of my socks.
First of all, when you pour it, it looks like a glass of bourbon. It's got the same coloring from the toasted oak
reddish,
for the barrels.
Orange.
Yep.
Yeah. And you smell it, you get that essence of the bourbon in it because they let it age in Woodford Reserve casks, which, for most of you who don't know, Woodford Reserve is a very expensive bourbon. And it's very good. It's a great quality. It's got some great clarity to it. And, just drinking it, it tastes like it tastes like you aged amber bock inside of a bourbon barrel.
And I think that a lot of people don't know about the aging process of a beer, because a lot of beer is based on born on date, like Budweiser or Bud Light, born on date. The fresher the beer, the better. But I think that aging inside these bourbon barrels, where you have these flavors that are indoctrinated inside of the wood, when you're brewing it, is brings out this really unique kind of diverse flavor. And it was not only potent, but it was also very tasty.
Well, yeah, because you're also bringing in some of that bourbon into the beer, because it's sitting in the barrel, so you're getting some of that bourbon along with the brewing process of the beer. And I've actually had some of that Kentucky bourbon. I think it was at what was it, ABC?
Yeah,
they sell it.
Yeah.
And I was looking at that. I was like, how could that be good? I mean, it doesn't sound like it would be good.
But it's so tasty. It's so silky smooth. It's so good. And I think that aging process inside of that wood, it kind of soaks out those natural flavors. When you're making a beer, you have to focus on the time that you're elapsing inside of the yeast fermentation. Mm-hmm. And I think giving it the time inside of the bourbon barrel really gives it a unique, different kind of flavor. It kind of tastes like bourbon, but it's so smooth and so tasty.
It's the sugars in the barrel that affects the yeast.
It's really good beer. I mean, it's up there in the top 10 beers I've ever had. That Kentucky Bourbon Barrel whiskey is or Bourbon Barrel beer is just so good and just unique.
Well, it's something different than just like the plain stuff that you normally drink, and you would get like on tap or like at a regular bar or whatever. I mean, if you're just looking to get drunk, yeah, you would just get like the normal like Big 3 or whatever. But over time, like I've kind of drifted away from that, and like World of Beer has helped kind of like lead me down that path of trying different stuff. And it brings up like some of that.
If only it wasn't $10 a cup of beer.
Well, yeah.
That's the only problem with that.
Well, and you were talking earlier about a little bit of the bourbon getting out into the beer.
Mm-hmm.
That's called the Devil's Cut.
Yes.
Because you get the
Great bourbon.
Because the angel's share goes into the atmosphere. So, like when you walk into the barrel housing, you just smell nothing but bourbon, and it's just amazing. That's the angel's share, and the Devil's Cut is what comes out of the burned wood. What they do is they pressure wash it, and then they cook the water out of it. That's how you get the 90 proof Devil's Cut. Made by Jim Beam.
Jim Beam.
My next beer is Wells Banana Bread Beer. Okay, now I generally tend to lean towards beer that are unique, different from things that I generally tend to try. Now with banana bread beer, it tastes just like banana bread. It is so different and so unique. It's such a unique banana flavor inside of the beer. It's dark, it's silky smooth, it's got a nice lingering head to it. It's just got this really beautiful flavor to it. And I think that if you're really into banana, like if you like banana chocolate milk or you like banana nut bread, you need to try Wells Banana Bread Beer, because it comes in two different sizes. It comes in the regular beer size format, and also comes in a larger beer that you can drink out of a glass. And I suggest pouring it into a glass, letting it sit for a minute, smell it, and then try it, because banana bread beer is the bomb. Have any of you ever tried banana bread beer?
I haven't. You recommended it a while back, and I just, like the Midas Touch, I just never have gotten either around to trying it or finding it in any place that would sell it for me to even try it. So
it's really good, man. It's a different kind of beer. It's got this really nice banana tone to it, but it's not overwhelming. And when you drink the beer, it's not like it's not overly hoppy like an IPA or like a porter. It's got this really kind of nice silky taste to it, and that banana kind of pops out to you as you're tasting it. But it's not like overly banana; it's banana bread. So it has this really nice I gave it to you that one time, Cameron.
Yep. Shoved it in my face, told me to drink it. He's like, take a sip. I drank the whole thing. It was very good.
It's a delicious beer, man. It's a different kind of beer. Darren.
I actually tried something the other day. It's like a Guinness. It's called Murphy's Irish Stout.
Oh, I had that. It's really good.
It's the first time I actually tried it.
I've been out of the bottle.
Can
is brilliant.
And it has that little ball at the bottom like Guinness does.
Yeah,
have you tried Wexford Irish Cream?
I have not gotten that far yet. No,
it's a light Guinness.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I've liked Guinness, and I've tried the black lager, and I've tried all the different kinds of...
That aerodynamic piece inside of the can or the bottle is actually something to mimic the taste of draft beer.
Yeah.
It's actually a pretty cool concept.
So, I saw it in Publix the other day, and I was like, I like stouts. I've been trying to, diversify a little bit of what I drink and try different stuff, and... I read it on the back, what's in it. It's malt. It's got, all the characteristics of a normal stout and everything. So I figured I'd try it. And it's almost like drinking chocolate milk.
Yeah, it's pretty tasty, man.
And
it's really smooth.
Yeah. You wouldn't think that from a stout or a porter, being as heavy as it would be alcohol-wise. And, I could have drank all 5 of them easily without even thinking about it and not even, get that much of a buzz out of it. Sure, it would hit me later on, but taste-wise, it's just like the the Irish car bombs when you drop the Guinness into
a shot of Jameson and half a pint of Guinness.
There you go. It's almost like that concoction, and they put it all together for you.
Yeah.
What about you, Cam? You got another beer?
Yes, it's from Black Sheep Brewery. A lot of my friends love it. We always drink it whenever we go out to the Brass Tap or World of Beer. Monty Python and the Holy Grail Ale. It was put out to commemorate the 25th anniversary of Monty Python and the Holy Grail. It's your basic beer. It's kind of like a Sam Adams almost. No, not like a Sam Adams. It's no. Sorry, Matt was just having a convulsion over here and it threw me off. But it's a light beer. It's something that you can drink.
It's darker though.
Yeah. It's dark. It's got the coloring of an ale, but it's a very light ale. It's weird, but you know, it's a good little gimmick right there.
I chose a beer that you can get for a very low price when you're like one of the best things I can attest to you towards picking your beers for like trying to figure out what's going on is go to your local liquor shop and find out if they give the Mix and Match 6-packs and pick up Vanilla Porter. It's from a brewery called Breckenridge Brewery, and it's this beer that's very cheap. It's like $1 to get the individual beer inside of your pack, and you're going to be picking up all these different kinds of beers like Ass Kisser or anything like that. You can get it at ABC, World of Beer, anything like that, but Vanilla Port is a very cheap beer from Breckenridge Brewery. It's got these really nice overtones of vanilla. It's a darker beer. It's very good because you can drink like 10 of these things and you don't feel like you're super fat. And it's got this nice, not overpowering, but very delicate taste of vanilla inside of it.
Yeah, I've had it. I like it.
It's one of those beers that are just different. For as cheap as it is from a brewery that most people will overlook, I think it's a very good, different kind of beer.
I mean, to me, I like the taste of it, and, you know, obviously it was a porter, so I was instantly hooked on it. And, you know, like you said, with the vanilla, you know, it's not overpowering, but it's enough that you can taste that vanilla in there. So
it's not overpowering though. It still tastes like a beer, but it's got those vanilla overtones, so you can keep chugging it and drinking it and drinking it and drinking it until you forget where the fuck you are. Darren, what's your beer?
Recently I kind of got like an affinity for Newcastle.
Right.
And, you know, the mainstay is the Newcastle Brown Ale. And that's what kind of led me into it. But now they've come up with, it's called Newcastle Cabby. It's like a black lager.
Right.
And, you know, it's a little bit darker than the normal brown ale. But it's got a little bit more taste to it. And, you know, it doesn't have like that harsh kind of taste to it like the brown ale does. You know, so it's kind of like the Guinness Black Lager, you know, in a lot of respects. That's kind of been on my shelf now for like last week or two.
I've never had that.
They have it at Publix.
I don't necessarily like Newcastle, as I find they're smooth, but they're overly hoppy, and I think that Newcastle kind of tingles my tongue in the wrong way. Not like oh my. But I just I can't really get behind. Like Beck's has that new Beck's Sapphire.
I didn't like it.
It's been out for about a year. It's I thought it was decent for a beer that you can pick up for like $12.99 off the case.
I like regular Beck's and I like the dark Beck's. Sapphire is the first one in the Beck's line that I haven't liked.
I thought Sapphire was pretty tasty actually for a domestic beer. Like, it's not domestic, it's German.
No.
But for a beer that's being billed as domestic that you can buy at a really reasonable rate. Like if you're gonna do the change 'em up beer like the Red's apple ales or something like that, I think that if you're looking for a change 'em up beer, I think that Beck's Sapphire is actually pretty decent. Cameron, do you have another beer you want to talk about?
Yeah, the new one to the Miller Coors line, Miller Fortune.
Haven't had it.
Haven't tried it yet.
The easiest way to describe it would be Budweiser Black Crown. Yeah.
Black Crown was decent for a Budweiser product.
I mean, it's very similar in taste, and Black Crown has unfortunately gone off the market.
I wasn't that big of a fan, so I'm not sorry that
it's a higher alcohol content too. It's like 6.5.
I mean, the higher alcohol content is better, but the taste-wise, it's just...
We got a little Haji Mart right up at the end of the road, sells 4-packs of 16 ounces of Miller Fortune for $3.50. I'm down with that.
You can't beat the price.
It's priced to sell, though.
Oh, yeah. It's the first time I've
Introduced a
seen
new
it in
product to the
16
market.
ounce, too.
It's introduced a new product to the market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to change our gears real quick, and we're going to go to my segment, my favorite segment, the Gang Beebs.
He only likes it because it's talking about fucking Justin Bieber and ass.
Oh.
Yeah, it's the game show that only I win, ever, always, of all time. So, the Gang Beebs. We talk about pop culture. We like to talk about things that are different. Basically, like I said, the story that I had when I was a kid is that I used to read like stars and people and shit like that on the shitter.
what I like to do is bring us upon a game show of sorts. And so I'm going to challenge both Cameron and Darren to a different kind of format to the show. So we're going to walk right into it. The first question I have for you guys is, what is Scotland's national animal? Any ideas?
The condor.
Darren?
The potato?
It's the unicorn. How the fuck do you get a unicorn?
Because they're always drunk.
Scottish people do.
I'm
like
surprised
to
it's not
booze
the
a lot.
Scotland pink elephants.
So the unicorn is the national animal of Scotland. It's like on their crest shield, I guess, for whatever their England bullshit is.
Are you sure it's not a horse with a guy and a sword behind it?
If it has a horn, it's a unicorn.
But could the sword be looking like a horn?
No, it's a unicorn.
Could it just be somebody had their arm cut off and it's still strapped to the horse and it still looks like a sword?
Nope, unicorn.
So is it possible that unicorns did exist at one time?
No.
That explains everything.
It is not the narwhal of horses.
Second Narwhal reference?
So, point to me. 2. Which one isn't a berry? We have avocado, watermelon, strawberry, and banana.
Avocado.
Watermelon.
It's strawberry.
Oh.
Strawberry is not an actual berry.
Seeds on the outside.
Right? It's for some reason the legitimacy of a berry or vegetable always lies in like the seed count or some shit. And for some reason, a banana, an avocado, and a watermelon are all berries, whereas strawberry is not.
Internal seeds.
Well, all internal. Oh my! Point to me. Question number 3. Betty White is older than sliced bread. What do you think, Cameron?
I'd like to butter her bread.
Betty White is quite sexy.
Wait, what's the question? Is that true
Is
or
she
false?
older than sliced bread?
Yes. Darren, it's a trap. She's the same age.
No.
Darren.
Betty White is in fact older than sliced bread. Point to Cameron.
Woo! I win!
Number 4. Doug from Doug and Fry from Futurama are the same voice.
True.
True.
It is in fact true. It is Billy West who does the voice acting for both of those shows, and he's in fact the voice of Doug and Fry. Point goes to me because you both agreed. 3-1.
No, that's a push. It's 2-2-1.
The point goes to me. My rules. Number 5. Duck Hunt.
I volunteer as tribute.
You can go into the low blow category later. Duck Hunt is a 2-player game, yes or no?
True.
False.
Duck Hunt is in fact a 2-player game. For the point, Cameron, why is it a 2-player game?
Because Nintendo wanted to encourage multiple sales of the light gun.
No, sir. It is because you can also play as the Ducks. Point to me.
No, you can play two. You can
No,
play with
sir.
two guns.
Second player goes to the Ducks.
No,
Second player
I've
is
played
the
Duck
Duck
Hunt
game.
with 2 guns.
Credit to BuzzFeed for giving me the correct answer.
I've played Duck Hunt with 2 guns.
It's these. You can play as the shooter or the Ducks.
No, that's bullshit.
I don't remember.
BuzzFeed is. I actually went and researched it and find out if it was true, and it's true. Second player is the Ducks.
I don't remember
I don't
that.
buy it.
And the bonus round question.
Is this worth 5 points?
No, it's. I already won the game, so it doesn't matter.
This is feeling
Did you
a lot
know?
like,
Of course it is, because I made the game, you son of a bitch.
Feels like Nazi
Are you
Germany
Jewish?
over here.
Ah, it's me, Sprechen Sie Matt.
The titties and boobs.
Sure.
I was sprechen Sie Matt.
I like both of those things. Did you know that the voiceover guy from your previews for every movie ever died of pancreatic cancer?
Yes.
Yes.
How bummed does that make you?
Incredibly For the record, both me and Darren both started rubbing our nipples like the cable company in that South Park episode.
Today on Media Rehab, we will talk about shit no one cares about.
In a world where one guy wears sunglasses inside and another guy doesn't.
Is Pablo Francisco pretty much unemployed because of this?
No, are you kidding me? Pablo Francisco
should have a job
becomes
for
that
life.
guy.
He should be the new guy.
Yeah, he should be the new guy.
So, we're wrapping up the show, and we're going to do the regular thing that we usually do. Cameron, what's your agenda?
Oh, man. My agenda until the next episode comes on is How I Met Your Mother. How I Met Your Mother is ending in 2 weeks. This Monday and then the following Monday. Don't kill the mom. Please don't kill the mom. That would suck.
Darren, what's your agenda?
During the previews for Walking Dead lately, they've been promoting the show about the turn of basically during the Revolutionary War, in British versus the Americans, and the first spy ring. And I'm thinking that it should be really good because it's on AMC and not on a regular TV channel or
Low Winter Sun.
Low Winter Sun was pretty good. I liked it.
It's a remake, though.
Yeah. And The Killing.
Those were terrible AMC shows. Sorry to interrupt you.
But I really enjoyed whatchamacallit, Low Winter Sun. I thought it was good.
I thought it was a remake that was actually pretty crappy.
Yeah, I was disappointed in AMC for that one.
Break us down before I give my agenda. What's our email?
Yes, you can reach us with any questions, comments, concerns at MediarehabMC@gmail.com. That's MediarehabMC@gmail.com. And, of course, you can find us on our YouTube channel. That is Media Rehab MC. Facebook links are coming eventually. Once Darren
As
does
soon as
logo.
Darren gets off his fucking ass and actually puts a degree to use.
Yeah. Hey, Darren, can you make us a new logo?
We're part of the show, you son of a bitch. Get us a webpage.
Yeah, I
I'm
was
working
do
on it.
something around here.
I'm trying to do something, guy.
My agenda is that we actually put forth a lot of effort in putting together content that you want to listen to. If you have something you want to talk about, if you have something you want to hear us talk about, if you have something that you want us to address, please, by all means, give it to us. We'll talk about anything you want to give to us. Because we sit here and talk about things that we think you want to listen to. This is a show for you. We do this because we think we have great opinions about things that you really find interesting. And if you ain't down with that, we got 2 words for you. Suck it!
Oh, yeah, and by the way, Warren Buffett can suck my dick.
Suck it!